On air live now. All right. Well, that's Kazagab right there. That one's going. But you know, the picture doesn't come up on it. I don't know why. That one. You know what I mean? And I don't know why, but that one already running? Okay. I think,
Tell me,
yeah, I think you can start it already. I'm going to start the invitations right now to get everybody on right now. So if you want to do that, you can get it going. Um, right. We're getting started here. Wednesday class again. As always, here, the ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, heart of New York City. This is a California class, Kazakh Yad, and Sharwan, Officer Sharwan, Officer Kazakh Yad. We're here representing for the ISUPK, bringing the truth out every Wednesday right here. La Verdad Incomoda, the Inconvenient Truth. You know, that's the name of our show. Got a great show lined up for you today. A lot of stuff happening as always, man. We living in those times, isn't that right?
fine.
Yeah, we living in those times, man, where every time you log on to the internet, every time we look into the Facebook, something's going down. Something is happening, you know, and it's funny that everything that's happening seems to be happening. You know what I mean? You seen anything new out there today? While I invite everybody and get everybody in, you know what I'm saying? On Facebook, on the Kazakyat Facebook, Kazakyat YouTube. I'm on Kazakyat YouTube, so you know if this one goes out, you can always log into Kazakyat YouTube. A little different there. I can't see anybody there. Oh, you know what? Another make UPK website and log in isupk.com and log in for your classes, man. Let them know that you're watching classes, that you're present. You know, what is that? What is that for becoming a trooper? Let them know.
90 days.
That's right.
Got to do 90 days dressing all black.
Right? Did you already get it started over there?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. And make sure that you log into the classes, that you stay on points, you know, for you can come into the school and become a trooper and do this work that the Lord has called us to do. You know what I'm saying, Sarwan?
Right.
We all did that. We all go through that. We all, you know, go through the 90 days and you know, gird up your loins. Isn't that what it says?
Right.
Gird up your loins and get ready, man. Get ready to go out there and do this work. You know, it's down into the world and do that work. That's what's really important right there, you know. Because on the internet, you know, we got a lot of brothers in here. They already know the Israel. They already know what you're talking about. They may argue or you're wrong, I'm right, but they're Israel. You know what I mean?
Right.
But how about the brothers out in the world? How about when you're out on the street and those people that never heard about this come up against you and they debate you and, you know, you're out telling them the truth and they don't know they're Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have no idea that they're Israelites. They have no idea they're Issacharites. They have no idea they're Judites, you know, and that's where the real work comes in. You know what I mean? Because out there you're battling not only demons, but Christian demons. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're battling them Christian, the Muslims. You know, out there the work really counts. Here on the internet, man, you can talk to your blue in the face. The reality is that we know we're Israelites. And most of the people that we contend against on the internet is people that they just have a difference in that you're in a camp and I'm not in a camp, or I'm telling the truth and you're not telling the truth, but they know they're Israelites, man. They know where they come, know what's going on. But how about those that don't know? How about those people that we need to reach, that are walking the street, that hear your voice and the Lord's Spirit comes on you, and that person, you know, the Spirit comes on them and they turn around and they listen to you for a second and you're out there telling heavy truth and they start realizing, man, you know, that guy right there, man, he's talking for real. And then they come up to you and they tell you, hey, man, what are you guys talking about, man? What is this all about? And then you begin to explain to them, and you know what? They get caught up and they listen and they're like, man, that's some heavy truth you're talking about there, right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where it counts. That's when the work is really being done. Because how are you going to fish people that are already fished? You know? How are you going to get people that already know they're Israelites? What are you trying to get them into your camp? You're competing to bring them into your realm or into your little clique or whatever you want to call it, you know, whatever you want to call it. We call ours a school. This is where we get educated. But, you know, what are you trying to bring them into? You know what I'm saying? They're already caught. They already know that they don't have right doctrine. Yeah, I believe a lot of you brothers out there may have right doctrine, you know, speaking some sensible stuff, talking some sensible truth. Of course, I'm not taking that from nobody. But how about that work? How about that Saturday? How about that Sabbath? Go ahead.
If I could real quick, you know what I'm saying? They might be out there knowing they're Israelites and not coming into the ISUPK, and you know they might be talking bad about the ISUPK. They might be talking bad about camps, but they need to realize that the only reason they know they're an Israelite is because of the UPK.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the UPK, under you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Thanks to the Most High and Christ, but you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the ISUPK, they wouldn't even know that they're Israelites. You know what I'm saying? The truth you're only gonna find in one place, and that's the home. That's where it all started at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The heavy thing about what you're saying is that we all did our 90 days. We're all equal. You know what I'm saying? We all started from the bottom and we worked our way up from Commanding General Yohana all the way down. All the generals, all the captains, all the officers. You know what I'm saying? They all started in all black doing their 90 days. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they came in and it was seen for them to you know get a higher rank, and they earned that rank.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They earned a name that the Lord gave them. You know what I'm saying? Not one that they gave themselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they did it for us. They did it for the brothers that were coming up under them.
Right.
Just like we're doing it for the brothers that are coming up under us. That's the reason why we teach these classes. You know what I'm saying? You might know you're Israelite, but you might not know much more than that.
Right.
And you might be listening to, you know, getting all kinds of different doctrines mixed up and creating your own doctrine.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But in the ISUPK, you know what I'm saying, you're taught that you can't pour new wine into old bottles.
That's right.
Meaning that you got to let go of everything that you learned in the world if you want to learn the truth.
Right.
The Bible says a double-minded man, it's like, I'm paraphrasing, where is it? Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Right. That's the one.
You know what I'm saying? If you believe in the truth, but you hold on to a little bit of what the Christian world taught you, then you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be unstable in your ways. You need to let go of all that, and if you want to start learning the Bible the correct way,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You must be taught as children, as the Bible says, man. You must become children again to teach. You must be taught once again. I'm paraphrasing.
Right, right. You know, that's absolutely true, man. Most High in Christ. That's what it is right there. And you know what? You know, people, we all have a different way of teaching. You know, we all have a different a gift. That's what I'm gonna call it. We all have a different gift. Some of us have one gift, other of us have another gift. You know, everybody has their own gift, but and you know, everybody uses it in their own way. But Charwan said, you know, one thing is for sure, you know, and that is that you know, the truth came out of the ISUPK. Everything you heard, whether it be from one camp or another, those heads in those camps, they came out of one place, man. They came out of the ISUPK. Everything that's taught out there came out of one place. They may have separated and gone their own ways, but all that doctrine, all that teachings, all that truth is coming from the one source. You argue till you're blue in the face, but when you do the history and the research, you realize, and the truth is, it came from here. It didn't come from nowhere else, man. No one else came up with that. The ISUPK was the school where it started all, you know. And like I said, you know, they separated a lot of those elders decided, or you know, those teachers decided they want to go do their own thing. They want to start their own camps. They wanted to, you know, go their own way. But still, it came out of one single location. If you're a Shikarite, or you're a Judite, or you're a Levite, or you're whatever you may be, you know where your doctrine came from. You know where that doctrine originated. and you know where it started, and you know where the home of the truth is, and it's right here in the ISUPK.
Right.
That's where it's at. You know, this is where it started. All we're doing is coming in and you know, learning from our teachers, learning from you know, the people above us, and going in and teaching. You know, no matter what it be, whether it's you know, the history of the Judites, where they came from, the history of the destruction of Israel, or you know, the story of who's that, of Esau. You know, I'm hearing a lot of people talking about Esau is the Arabs, and Esau is this, and Esau is that. Come on, man. The truth, we all know. You want to change it, that's a different story. But the reality is that, you know, biblically, it can be proven who's who and where it's coming from. And you think you're doing research? Let me tell you something. The brothers in the ISUPK, all the brothers before us, that research has already been done. You ain't finding nothing new in the Bible. You didn't discover anything. They've wrote Bible back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those brothers come out with scripture off, you know, just out of memory. They know where it's at. They don't have to get a book and look. They don't got to get a Bible and look to see where they're going to find it. You ain't got to say, grab your Bible, find where it's at. You know what I mean? Like, they know where it's at. They know what it is. They've researched it. You know, for those that think, you know, that's not it, well, you know, there's only one way to find out. They got a class on Thursday with Captain Tazariak, you know, to answer any question you may have. Ain't that right?
Right.
Captain Tazariak has gone up against the best of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't nothing new. You ain't the one that's gonna come and prove them wrong. They've already dealt with everybody. Right. You know, back and forth, and no one has been able to come up with I'm gonna say a win, right? Is that what it is? A win? I'm gonna say a win, but no one's been able to come in there and show that their doctrine is the true doctrine. Everybody's been shut down, and you know what? That's why nobody calls Captain Tazariak. That's why when you say, well, call Captain Tazariak, they refuse it. No one wants to call Captain Tazariak and debate. If your truth is solid, well, man, only one way to find out. You know, not for us. Don't make it known to everybody. For yourself. Call up, bring that truth that you think is right, and ask the question on Captain Tazariak's show on Thursday, and find out if that what you're saying is really holds up. If it holds up, man, I'm joining your camp. That you're going to be able to bring anything new into the ISUPK. What is it? What does it say? There is nothing new under the sun. Right. Right? We already know it. Everything's already done. Everything's already been proven. What are you going to prove? You know, that you can't have more than one wife? Right. You know, that's already been proven. Women that think, no, well, if you got more than one wife, you're wrong. Well, you know what? That's already been proven. It's scripture, you know, scripture that we know that what it is. But, you know, of course, you know, everybody is, you know, on their quest to find the truth, you know, and much respects to everybody because, hey, at least you know you're Israel. You know what I'm saying? That's important there, that you know you're Israel and that you're moving forward with that. You know what I mean? So that's an important part. So I just finished there. I was logging everybody in, inviting everybody to come in. You know, once again, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. You know, to all the brothers out there, to all the sisters out there watching the show. Once again, every Wednesday, you know, we're here with the truth, the inconvenient truth, going down on everybody out there who just doesn't want to hear it, you know, who just doesn't think that the ISUPK holds the truth, man. We're here with the truth. The ISUPK is always here. We're here to represent 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. And, you know, we're here. That she told is what the Lord is bringing out. We bring out only that is that the Lord tells us to do, man. We're not going to go off. We're not going to go teaching anything that's not righteous. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, you know, and for being here with us once again. The ISUPK, Officer Kazak Yad, along here with my brother Officer Kasharwan. You know, we're here to bring the truth out and invite everybody to join with us in this quest for more truth, right? Because that's what it is. Right. Man, it's going down. You know, I'm gonna break out. You know, first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining. Monica, Rahab, Kana, Prince Trills. You know what I'm saying? Pancho Venegas, Ephraim Rivera, Zakawar, Akoy, oh man, Mashak Mayam, Yahweh Baruch, sir. You know what I'm saying? For joining. Monica, Adam, Nicole, Rahab, Shabbat, Yasharala, Thalam Yad, Ahamwana, Dawada, got the Yala. Oh man, that brother's watching from Nicaragua, bro. Yeah. Todo altísimo contigo, hermano, que te cuides. Sé que la situación en Nicaragua está difícil. Gracias por estar aquí atento con nuestro show, y estar a frente. Vamos a preparar algo para que la siguiente vez que yo salga, tú puedas acompañarme y también puedas tener una palabra y decirnos la situación que está allá en Nicaragua. Our brother, Gadayala, he's in Nicaragua. If you don't know what's happening in Nicaragua, the situation in Nicaragua is critical. If you got anything on Nicaragua, bring it out, man. You know, the situation in Nicaragua is critical right now. It's a bad situation. You know, the American government with their democracy has gone in and made the situation in Nicaragua a terrible situation for our brothers, right? Right now, the situation out there is out of control. You know, we see, man, what I'm gonna say, man, Nicaragua is even they got an alert out there for travelers who come from the U.S. out to Nicaragua that, you know, you want to be careful when going out there because of the situation out there. I mean, it's an all-out war in Nicaragua right now, and of course, you know, you got to know that the U.S. is involved in this, like it's always been involved in the Latin American countries. And you know me, man, I'm gonna go in on that with the Latin American countries. That, you know, America has destroyed the Latin American countries. You know what do I always say? I always say the American dream is the Latin American nightmare. That's what it really is. Right. And you know, our brother Gadayala, he's experiencing that out there. But you know, the Lord be with him. You got anything on that? You know, that the Lord be with him and accompany him out there, and that all that is happening passed by him, and he don't participate in anything of that. But you know, we're gonna try to get our brother to communicate with us, and I want to get him to communicate regularly, or we can be on point with what's happening to the brothers and sisters in Nicaragua, because they're Israelites too, you know what I mean? And I want them to communicate and give us insight, man, and we're going to get firsthand news right here on the Inconvenient Truth of what's happening in Nicaragua, because it's important, you know, because we need to care about what's happening to our brothers, and anything we can do to reach out and help them out, man, you know, we all got to participate in helping them out in any way we can. It's difficult because of the distance between us and how the government out there is so wicked when it comes to sending them either money or sending them anything. You know, they're wicked about it, man. They're going to keep that money. And how do I know that? Because Mexico is the same way. You try to send out to Mexico something, and man, you know, they intercept that. They're looking at packages. They're trying to do what they can to rob and you know, just take our people and put them in a bad position. So going on, Ephraim Rivera, you know, Nadaya, DeVeo, Tobias, Ban Israel, welcome to the show. Brewer Guerrero, of course, Felipe Mejia, Yahweh Hashim, Yahweh Shabbat, hermano, you know, brother out here in Cali, you know, and don't forget we got that cookout, but I'll get into that later on. Yashikar, Mariah, of course, you know, big ups to them too, watching. So you know, the situation in Nicaragua is critical. You know, we see it all the time. But right now, before we move on, I wanna go into some history of Nicaragua and Central America, because there's some good history that I'll throw out because of my brother right there who's out there, you know, and going through what he's going through. My brother Gadayala. So Gadayala, I'm gonna throw in some history here about you know, the situation that you're in is kind of familiar to us because we've always been in situations like this. Israel has been in a situation of destruction since 1492, since the white man, the Spaniards, stepped soil with us, and we're going to the Deuteronomies, into the curses and how we lose our land. That's a great one. That's a great one to bring out. So I'm gonna tell you, like, there's a word in the Mayan, right? In one of the Mayan languages, I want to say it's Jaha, the language, but I'm not too sure. But Jah or is the language of the Mayan culture, and the word is Ik. Ik means spirit in the Mayan language. I don't know if you know that, brother, but you know, ik. When you say ik, you're really saying spirit, or you're saying breath. That's the word that's used, ik. And so the Mayan language uses that word ik as translated when you say the word breath or air or spirit, because it's used in multiple ways. They use the word ik like saying my spirit, or ik my breath, or ik the wind, right? This is the way you say the word air or spirit or wind in the ancient Mayan language. Welcome, Kelly, to the show. So the word ik is translated in air, spirit, or wind, right? So the way you write this word, and let me try to get a piece of paper here. Let me borrow a piece of paper. Let me show you how you write the word ik, right? I'm going to write the word ik. And this is the way that you, let me see, I have a marker here. Did I lose my marker? Anyway, so let's see if you can see this, okay? Let me break it out. So this is, I had a black marker. I'm going to write it right here. I'm going to write the word ik in the ancient Mayan language. Okay? A ver si lo ven. See that? It's a bar and a bar. That right there is the word ik in the ancient Mayan language, right? So when you see this, right? Kanawan, Shalom, it says. So this right here is the ancient language of ik. In the Mayan language, ik. This is the way this is how you spell ik. And the word ik, and I'm going to kind of write it. Ik, right, means spirit, or wind, or air. A-I-R, okay. Excuse the French. But see, ik means spirit, wind, or air. And that's the way you write it. So when you say spirit, you know, the Mayans were real, like, man, they were real religious people. Like they honored their gods, right? Even the God that they knew was Moses, right? Cucutlan, or Cucutlan, right? I'm not saying that. Oh, there it is. Okay. Cucutlan it was the name. So when they would write the word spirit, they would do that. And remember, when you're talking about spirit, even today in the ISUPK, when we say the word spirit, which is ik in the Mayan language, we know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And what does the Bible tells us in the book of Genesis? It says that the Lord poured what onto Adam and Eve? He gave them their spirit. Right, the breath of life. What is the breath of life? It's wind, right? Breath, air, breathe. You know, it's the same, because ik could mean breath, you know, or wind or spirit. It was a multiple use word. And so the point I'm getting to is when you look at this symbol of a T, right? When the Spaniards came to the Americas, when they went over to Central America, you know, and Aztecs and everybody, they came with a banner, and their banner had a cross on it, you know, the same cross. And in the confusion, a lot of these Mayan people, a lot of these like, you know, towns or, you know, cities or whatever, when they appeared and they saw this, they thought that was a symbol for spirit. They thought that was a symbol of their God, of something that had to do with their God. And they gave themselves up liberally to the Spaniard. That's why when you wonder how, you know, how can such a race of strong people, of warriors, have lost that battle? How could they have given themselves up to them? Well, it was very simple. Because there was confusion, there was a loss within themselves that they did not know what that was. They thought Ik was a spirit, and they thought these people were coming with the spirit of the Lord. They even in the Aztecs with Quetzalcoatl, they thought Quetzalcoatl had returned, and he was a white god. You know, they seen him as this man, which was really Hernan Cortez. They thought that was the god. They thought, oh man, he's returned. You know, because the legend promised that he would that Quetzalcoatl would return, and they thought this was the return of Quetzalcoatl. You know, and so once again, they mistakenly, both the Aztecs and the Mayans, they mistakenly gave up everything they had because of a religious symbol. And we've lost, and today in our time, we've done the same. We've lost everything we have because we believe in these other religions. And what we've lost is a lot. Do you have that precept that we were going to lose our land? So go ahead and read that precept.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49.
28 and 49 in Deuteronomy. Oh, which is that you're getting?
The Lord shall bring a nation from
right, that's the one.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee.
Now see, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee. So who bring the Spaniard, and what was the confusion? Well, the Lord set forth that confusion. The Lord set this confusion that because they were worshiping other gods, because they went off and they were doing all this other worshiping their gods, and you know, holding rituals and sacrifices and all this other nonsense they were doing. Well, the Lord bring this against the Latin American countries. He bring this against, you know, the Mexicans, against the Salvadoranians, against the Guatemaltecos, against my brothers from Central and South America. Why? Because we chose to drift off and worship other gods. Today we're doing the same thing. Today we're worshiping other gods. I mean, you can go to Mexico and they're worshiping the Virgin Mary. You know, they got who's that's coming to Mexico real soon? The Pope is coming to Mexico. In November, he's coming to Mexico. And you know what? There's actually Mexicans that are preparing for his visit. Knowing that this man is a pedophile, right? Knowing that these churches do that to our people, you know, they're still willing to accept them to come into their country. You know, us Mexicans, if you come into my territory, man, it's an all-out fight. We're gonna go to war. I'm gonna do something against you. I'm gonna shoot you, and then I'm gonna go into your neighborhood and shoot your family. You know, that's just for coming into my neighborhood. These people are raping and robbing and molesting and beating and doing things to our people, and our people, through religious belief, are allowing them to do all this. And that's the same thing that happened to our ancestors. The people in Nicaragua, the Mayans, the people from the Yucatan area, the people from Honduras, when the Spaniard came over and they saw this cross and they mistaken it for the spirit or Ik, you know, they went all out and became destroyed. Because of why? Because they went off and worshiped gods that weren't their own. Do you have anything else?
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
And this is a precept that all of us know very well. This is a precept that us Latinos are very familiar with. This precept is probably, I would say, doesn't really fit the Judites, but it fits the Issacharites, the Zebulonites, and all the other 9 tribes. Right, 9 tribes, right? Yeah. Oh no, the 10 tribes. I'm sorry, Salakia. The 10 tribes very well, because the Native American Indian found out real quick that those people that came from across the ocean, from a land very far. What does it say?
Against thee from far.
Against us from far. These people came, man, from a year voyage, you know, a year and a half voyage, possibly more. You know, they came from across the ocean, and they came to our country, and we didn't even know who they were. Continue reading.
From the end of the earth.
From the end of the earth, man. You know, like if you were an American Indian and you were standing on the shore and you were looking at the ocean, man, you would think, man, they're coming from, man, you know, all you see is ocean till the horizon. So you're probably thinking, where did these people come from? They had to have come from the end of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, where else are they coming from? They didn't know what outer space was, and if they did, they probably were like, you know, the chariots. But they're coming from the end of the earth. They're coming from far, far away, man. They're coming from a place that, you know, you don't even know. Anything else? Continue reading.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
And as swift as the eagle flieth. Man, they came in faster than they could even imagine. You know, one of the things that happened with Cortez is that he came and conquered, right? And when he came and conquered Mexico, you know, he lost a battle, but then he went back. And he came back with even more of his armies. He went and told his cousin, hey, man, you know what? I'm over here doing this work. I need more. And before the Mexicans could even realize it, they came back with more armies. As swift as an eagle flieth. Like, they didn't even realize that these guys, with a year span, I mean, when you're going through hell and you see a little time of peace, and all of a sudden, a year later, that time is gone. You know, you're back in the battle. And this time they came with a vengeance. What else you got?
Right. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
And you know, the Mexicans, when these Spaniards came, they were speaking Latin. Latin is supposedly a Greek tongue. That's what it is. Latin is Greek. This is the language of love, the Greeks called it. And it's called Latin. And this tongue came to America, and you know, to the Americans. And let me tell you something. I just said the word, what was that? Eek. Eek is in the Mayan language. Let me see. You would say, how are you? You know, in the greeting, you know, in Spanish would be ¿Cómo estás? In Spanish, but in Nahuatl it would be Bachtacojal. Bachtacojal means how are you in the Nahuatl language, which is the Mexican. This is our real language. Our real language is Nahuatl, and the way we would speak it, we see each other on the street and we'd be like a Bachtacawal, you know, Bachtacawal, which is to us it's like, what strange language is that? But when they came with that language, what does it say?
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
A nation whose tongue we shall not understand. We did not understand what this Latin was, what this Spanish was. You know how we learned the Spanish, how we learned how to speak Spanish, is because our children were taken and they were put in the missions and they were forced to forget their tongue and forced to dress different and forced to cut our hair and forced to speak a language that wasn't ours. They did the same thing to the American Indian. They put them in the boarding schools, cut their hair, took off their fringes, took off their clothing, and made them wear suits. And they put them inside of these boarding schools and forced them to learn a language that they did not understand. So not only did the native Indian go through that, but the Mexican Indian went through that. This is how we know that we are the 12 tribes of Israel. This is how we know that we're brothers. You know, black man, what did you speak before you spoke English, right? What language were you speaking? What was your native tongue? You didn't speak English. You spoke something else. You spoke the Hebrew. Today, once again, we're learning the Hebrew. We're naming our wives Hebrew names. We're naming our brothers Hebrew names. Shadrach, correct? Kazak, correct? Lahab, correct? Kasharwan. And when you tell a white man, my name is Shadrach Ban Yahawada, they're like, well, what the hell is that? That's a tongue I don't understand. That's a language I don't understand. I don't even know what you're saying to me, right? But we know what it is. When we say Shalom Yahweh, Shamar Il Athab Hashim Yahweh, you know, we're greeting our sisters, and they're thinking, well, what language is that? What language is that you're speaking? I don't understand it. My native language was Nahuatl. When I used to greet my brothers, I would say Bachat Kohal, which means how are you in the Nahuatl language. That's the original language that the Mexicans spoke, not this language that's being taught to us today. Today we see our brothers and we tell them, what do you mean you don't speak Spanish, bro? What's wrong with you? You ain't Mexican? Let me tell you something. Our ancestors didn't speak Spanish. Right. Spanish is the Latin language that the white man bring the Spaniard and destroyed our people and forced us, when they put our children in the missions, cut their hair, took their fringes, took their natural way of life, and made them live unnaturally to how they wanted to live. What is that verse again in the Bible that tells us? And let me tell you something. Your Christian pastor, your Catholic church, they won't teach you this. You know why? Because they're Spaniards. They're teaching you the Spaniard and Latin way. That's why to them there is no interest in teaching you your true heritage, your true language, your true bloodline. Read.
Oh, God. As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. That's in the book of Deuteronomy, the Old Testament. If your church reads the Bible, how come they didn't read this verse to you? How come they didn't tell you? Let me tell you something. In the Bible, it's telling you that a nation that coming from across the ocean is going to come and destroy your people, and they're going to give you a language that you don't understand. Continue reading.
Oh, God. A nation of fierce continents.
A nation of fierce continents. You know what fierce continents is? That means that you got to look in your eye of destruction. That means that you got a face that doesn't care about your people. That means that you got a spirit that's going to destroy whatever you come in contact with. Let me tell you something. They used to burn the Mexican Indian. They would chop off his hands. They used to slice your children with the sword. The Spaniard used to sick dogs on the Mexican people just for a good time, just for kicks. They were animals. They destroyed your people through violence. The Mexican has never been violent, not against our own people. You hear about the stories of us sacrificing, of us going and, you know, what is that movie? Apocalypto. Let me tell you something. If you knew the true story of your people, you would know that Apocalypto is a goddamn lie that they perpetrated on the Mexican people. And the sad part is that we believe that story. We would rather believe movie history than your real history. Let me tell you something. The Mexican history exists. They exist in the books still today. They're still in Mexico. They're called the Codex Mexica, the Codex Totlan, the Codex of the Mayan. These codex still exist. They're books written pre-Columbian. Before the invasion of Spain, these books already existed. Our ancestors left a history that is still existing in Mexico today. Today, they're going over and they're going to Spain and they're forcing them to give back these books. You know why? Because what happened is when Hernan Cortés and these people got to Mexico, the first thing they did was burn the history books. They burned thousands of books that were on parchment. In other words, on leaves. They wrote on leaves, right? And they took this parchment, and what they did was burn these books. Thousands upon thousands of books were burned in Central and Mexico and South America. Shalom, Kawak, Shalom, Yakai from Florida. Most High in Christ, thanks for joining. Oh, hey, Demo. Most High in Christ, brother, for watching. I didn't see you on there, but you know what? Shalom, brother, or peace, Demo. Big ups for watching. So let me tell you something. They went into these, when they arrived in Spain, the first thing they did, brother, was burn these books. You know why? Because this history was important, and they knew that they were about to change history. Right. And they did. What they did is they burned that history, and they added their own history. I'm going to go into one history real quick. A change of history, I'm going to bring two of them. First, I'm going to bring the history of who the Virgin Mary is. The Virgin Mary in Mexican history, her real name was man, how could that slip my mind? Tonantzin. The real name of the Virgin Mary for the Aztec Indians was Tonantzin. Tonantzin was the mother of the earth, right? The mother of creation. Isn't that who they claim Virgin Mary is? The mother of Christ, Christ the Lord, the God of all creation. Isn't that what they teach you? Right. That Jesus Christ is God, right? That's what they teach in the Christian and Catholic Church. Jesus Christ is God. Well, that's a lie. Jesus Christ is one, and the Lord Yahweh is another. These are two different people. These are not the same person. And so in the Aztec tradition, Tonantzin was the goddess of the earth in this city called Tepeyac in Mexico. Tepeyac was the place where they would honor this goddess. They would go to this mountain in Tepeyac, the Aztec Indian, and they would hold ceremonies for her. The Spaniard came to Mexico and they realized how powerful this image of Tonantzin was to the Mexican. And you know what they did? They took that image and produced a new image known as the Virgin Mary, La Virgen Maria. And this Virgen Maria, they made a story where it miraculously appeared to an Indian, a man named, who was his name? It'll come to me. But it appeared miraculously, Juan Diego. That's it, exactly. Juan Diego. Juan Diego was the man that miraculously appeared to her. And they used this Indian, which was really a Catholic, to push the story of La Virgen de Guadalupe to all Indians, forcing them to leave their original belief in Tonantzin and start to worship this belief in the Virgin Mary known as La Virgen Maria. And let me tell you something. They say that the picture miraculously appeared to this man. But the truth is that there was a painter by the name of Marcos Zipac de Oquina. And Marcos Zipac de Oquina was a Spaniard who came from the region known as the Guadalupe River in Spain. Right. And he was from this area called Guadalupe River. And that's why it's called the Virgen de Guadalupe, because it's coming, this image is coming from this area. And this painter known as Marcos Zipac. Marcos Zipac was name some of the famous painters. Angelo, you know, Michelangelo, who else? Pablo Picasso, who else? All these people were the same people, French, Italian, Spaniards, great painters. And Marcos Zipac was one of those people. And they perpetrated this lie, this story to our Mexican, Aztec, Indian brothers and Central American Mayan brothers with this lie that's been handed down to us generation after generation after generation. Let me tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I'm the generation that's going to stop this lie. I'm the generation that's going to stand up with this word and speak up and tell my children and my grandchildren that this that you heard, that your grandparents heard, was a goddamn lie that the Spaniards bring to our country, to our people, in order to destroy us mentally, physically, spiritually, and economically. They've destroyed us. This whole land of California, Mexico, Nevada, Mexico, Central America, this was all our land. And you know what the problem is? Mexicans say, well, you're in better shape than you were before. You know, America, at least, you know, you have a house and a car. No, let me tell you something. America became rich through the natural resources that Mexico and Latin America have. That's right. Without these resources, America would have been lost. Right. They caused your brothers and sisters and ancestors to pick the fruit that made them rich, that made this country what it is today. Historically, we've been destroyed in order for another country to live prosperously. And they promoted this and perpetrated this lie throughout every century. And I'm here with my brothers from the ISUPK to put an end and wake up my brothers and sisters to the reality that we have been destroyed. And today we live among them and they're still continuing to do the same thing to us. They want you deported. You're a goddamn wetback. You're a nigger. You're a spick. You're useless. You're lazy, because that's all the way they see us. We see it on the internet every single day. Our brothers are being shot, killed, destroyed, all because these people have a hate. What is that? A perpetual hate for Israel. That's what it is. And what are we doing here? We're here because we're the men of the ISUPK that have decided to stand up and speak these words that no one else wants to speak. We need men. We don't need cowards. We need people that are going to speak, not men that are going to go out and coward out in front of their enemy. We're here because we're the ones that are going to stand in history as those that decided to come out and speak the truth, the inconvenient truth. La verdad incomoda. It's an inconvenient truth. This is something that you would rather not talk about in the circle of friends. This is something you would rather not talk about when you go out drinking with your buddies. This is something you would rather not talk about when you're having your carne asada with your cousins and everybody. Why? Because they think, hey, man, all you do is speak this stuff all the time, bro. When are you going to stop it? Why don't you enjoy a football game? Why don't you enjoy a baseball game? Why don't you enjoy a hockey game, right? Why don't you enjoy talking about rappers, you know what I mean? The rapper delight, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you enjoy that? Why? Because that's not the conversation we want to hold. We want to hold the conversation that's going to uplift the spirit and the body and the mind and the souls of our brothers and sisters, and uphold our ancestors that have been destroyed by these people that today don't give a damn about you. You know what I'm saying? And this is what happened to our Aztec Indian brothers and sisters, and why today the Mexicans worship the Virgin Mary and the Virgen de Guadalupe. And let me tell you something. Man, you have not, man, you Judite brothers have not seen how serious the worshiping of this Virgin Mary really is. You should go on the internet one day and punch in what is that, Las Mandas for la Virgen de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary, the Guadalupe Day in Mexico. There's people who will go on their knees from one city to another. They'll walk on their knees for 2 days on their knees till they get to that city. Their knees are bleeding from that pilgrimage that they do from one city to another. These people will go and whip themselves with a whip on this day. There's people that'll say, man, I'm not gonna drink for 30 days. I'm not gonna eat pork for 30 days. God damn, they won't eat pork for 30 days. I won't eat meat for 30 days. To them, that's the pilgrimage that they're doing. That's the manda they're doing. And in reality, they're doing it in vain. In reality, they're doing it for nothing at all. Right. They're doing it for a false god. Give me that one on the false gods, that we will worship false idols. Because you know what? That's what we're doing. We're worshiping false idols. We're over here giving our spirit, our love, the love that the Lord is asking us to give, and we're giving it to somebody else. And then you wonder why we're in the condition that we're in. Then you're wondering why our brothers and sisters are being, separated and sent across the border while their children are being kept here in cages. You're wondering why that's happening to us. You're wondering why our brothers, the black brothers, are being shot in the street. I seen a video today. Oh man, a great video. Well, I don't want to say it's a great video, but I seen this disturbing video of a brother, a Mexican brother, that the police broke down his door and came into his house and put him at gunpoint and put handcuffs on him because someone called the police and said there was a Mexican guy with an AK-47. I reposted it. You should catch my post. And this brother was on fire when it all was said and done and they didn't find nothing. He was on fire. He told the man, his words are like this: you know what? If this could have been a worse situation, I could be dead right now. You guys could have shot me and you don't care. And you know what? Those are strong words coming out of that brother's mouth. I'm going to make sure I repost that because you got to watch this Mexican brother and the anger that's coming out of him because they barged into his house and pointed M16s at this brother. And they were ready to shoot this brother dead because someone called and said that he was walking around with an AK-47. And it was a goddamn lie. You know who called on him. The same people that call on the black brothers and sisters selling on the street or walking on the street or in the swimming pools or sitting in a car or inside of a store. There was this other video I watched of a young man and a young woman, him and his fiance. They walked into a store and the cop went into the store and was arresting him because he said he might have a warrant. And he asked him for his name and he was harassing him inside the store because he said that he might have a warrant. Even though he didn't have a warrant, he was still being harassed. Why? Because he was black. Why was the other brother barged in his door? And this happened within a few days because he was Mexican. Why are did you see the post of the missing Native American Indian women? Let me tell you something. Thousands of Native American women are coming up missing. Why? Because they're Native American Indian women, because they're black brothers, because they're Mexican brothers. That's why this is happening to them. You got it? That's why this is happening to them. No other reason but because of who you are. And let me tell you something. We know why. Not because you're black, not because you're Native Indian, not because you're Mexican, but because you're Israel. And they hate you because of who you are. And you may not know who you are, but the Lord knows exactly who you are. And that spirit has been put on all these people to know exactly who you are. That's why the Chinaman hates you. That's why the Armenian hates you. That's why the white man hates you. That's why these other nations despise you. They love your culture, but they hate you. You got it? Bring it out.
So Psalms chapter 135 and verse 15. The idols of the heathen are silver and gold.
See, the idols of the heathen. Who are the heathens, man? The Spaniards are the heathen. The white man is the heathen. The Catholics are heathen. Those Christian pastors are heathens. And what does it say?
The idols of the heathen are silver and gold.
Our idols were silver and gold. We were making idols. We were making out of anything. We were making statues. Today, you go into your mom's house, and she's got the statue of the Virgen de Guadalupe. You go into your other mom's room, and she got a statue of that white Jesus. She's got San Martin de Porres. She's got all these statues and candles that she worships, that she puts up. Continue reading.
The work of man's hands.
The work of man's hands. Let me tell you something. Those idols, a man is making them. Those statues and those portraits that are on your wall, a man has made those. Those are not of the Lord's. None of those idols, none of those virgins, none of those saints, none of those are ours. Those were created by the Spaniard and brought to Mexico and given to our people to worship. Continue reading.
Verse 16. They have mouths, but they speak not.
You see, they have mouths. You can see them. A lot of people claim that some of those pictures and those portraits, if you walk, the eyes follow you. You know, that Jesus portrait, if you walk by, Jesus is watching you. That's what your mom tells you. You know, they got mouths, but they don't speak, man. They got nothing to say to you. They're a piece of paper. They're stone. They're ceramic. They have no kind of power whatsoever. Continue reading.
Eyes have they, but they see not.
You see, they don't see. They don't see anything. They may look like they're watching you when you go in there and you see that picture on the wall and you think, oh, I better not do nothing wrong because the picture of Jesus is there. Or you go to that Catholic church and they got that big statue and he's crying, you know. Oh, tears came out of that statue's eyes, or blood came out of his eyes, or blood came out of his hands. And then you go put a candle right there because that statue, you know, San Martin de Porres is going to be with you. El Niño de Atocha, he's going to be with you no matter where you go. Make sure you put that cross on your mirror in your car because he's going to be with you. Carry that little picture in your wallet because he's going to help you say that prayer. You know, always say that prayer because that prayer is going to, you know, benefit you. But what does it say?
They have, eyes have they, but they see not.
They don't see nothing, man. There is nothing there that can save you or help you. Continue reading.
Verse 17. They have ears, but they hear not.
Let me tell you something. You can get on your knees till they bleed and pray to that God, pray to that statue, pray for that cross, pray for that Jesus that's nailed there. You know what? He's not going to do anything for you. You can go ahead and expect him to get off that cross and do his little spin dance on there and expect you to give him money on Sundays. That's what you can expect. You can expect that Virgin Mary doll to get off there and get on the pole, do her dance, and expect you to give her money on Sunday. You can expect that Niño de Atocha to get up there off of his little chair, off of whatever he's in there, and go play with his Lego sets and expect you to give him money on Sundays. That's what you can expect from those statues. Because why?
Because they have ears, but they hear not.
They don't hear none of your prayers. I don't care how many times you pray, that statue inside your car, that cross inside your car, that little picture inside your wallet, you're going to get pulled over anyways,
Right.
and you're going to get taken to jail.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying? No matter how many times you pray, that bill is going to come to your house anyways, okay?
Right.
No matter how many times you get on your knees and light your goddamn candles, your house is going to burn anyways from the stove being left on, okay? No matter how many times you pray, man, that to that statue, to that picture, to that, you know what? Your mom is going to die in the hospital anyways, okay? You're going to get chicken pox. You're going to get a disease. Man, you're going to get VD regardless how many times you pray for sleeping with that hoe, okay? That's what's going to happen to you. So I don't care how many times you pray to that statue or how many times you pray to that picture or how many goddamn candles you're going to light till your house burns down. What does it say is going to happen? What does it say?
They have ears, but they hear not.
Man, they don't hear you, man. That picture doesn't hear you. That statue doesn't hear you. That little size card that you have in your wallet that your Catholic priest gave you, he's not going to hear you. That cross that you have inside your car, it's not going to hear you. You're going to jail anyways. Continue reading.
Neither is there any breath in their mouth.
Let me tell you, there is no breath in their mouth. There is no life in that. There is no life in anything like that, man. There is no life in the statue. There is no life in those candles. There is no life on that picture that your mom has hanging in the room that she tells you, mira, mija, cuando pases por aquí, esos ojos se están viendo. Those eyes are looking at you everywhere you look, move over here. See how the eyes are looking at you? Now come over here. See how the eyes are looking at you? It's a goddamn lie. Those don't see nothing. They hear nothing. They speak nothing. It's the lie that the Spaniards has perpetrated on our people since the day they stepped foot on our continent. Continue reading.
Oh, God. They that make them are like unto them.
See, the people that make them are just like them. They're liars. All they care about is what statue am I going to make tomorrow to make some money? What statue am I going to create that I'm going to be able to go out and sell that they'll give me money for? What statue am I going to make, or what picture am I going to print out, or what cross am I going to put with the little Jesus on there that's going to, you know, pole dance for me on it, that's going to get me that money that I need tomorrow? Because that's what that really is. That's blasphemy. That's nothing for us. Those statues, those pictures, they do nothing. The print shop that's printing them out is making top dollar off of your pocket printing that stuff out. The guy that's creating those little cement, those you know, when you go to Tijuana and you're on the border, you know what I'm saying? You go to the border and they walk around with those statues on there, you know, walking around telling you, hey, no, $25, $25, and your mama says, oh, buy one. I want one for the living room. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that'll look so nice in my bedroom. You know what I'm gonna do to that one? I'm gonna cut a little slit in the back and I'm gonna use it as a piggy bank. I'm gonna pour that money in there. Go ahead.
And then they think that the bigger the better.
Exactly.
So they want the biggest one to hang on their living room.
They want the biggest statue in the living room. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna cut a hole in the back and I'm gonna use it as a piggy bank for myself. That's all it's good for. That's all those things are good for. Right. They ain't good for nothing else. The pictures that you got hanging in your wall of all those saints are good to light a fire. Okay? The saints that you have there are good to cut the back and save them as piggy banks for yourself and for your kids. You hear what I'm saying? The candles that you got there, they're good like that. When the lights go out, make sure you have candles for you can light your house, for you can see what you're doing. But that's all they're good for. Everything else, they're good for nothing. You got any more on that?
Yeah. The work, so is everyone that trusted in them.
See that? So is everyone that trusts in them. Let me tell you something. And you know, I say this because I'm no different than my brother Jose Gomez, Tabaganaz, or Hadar, or Kawak, or Amataza from Arizona, or the young lady Lillian. You know what I'm saying? Or Nita. You know, I'm no different than all of you. My parents love these images. And unfortunately, what does it say they are? They're liars, right? They say they're what? It's a verse up a little bit.
They have ears, but they
hear not. It says that they have no truth in them.
Neither is there any neither is there any breath in their mouths.
Right? And
they that make them are like unto them.
They're like them. They have no breath in their mouth. They have no truth. What was the breath that the Lord gave Adam and Eve? He gave them the truth. He gave them that wind of life. He gave them recognition of what was right and what was wrong. He gave them the commandment, what was right. And we all have something in common. That our parents gave us lies. Our ancestors, our grandfathers gave us lies. Our great-grandfathers gave us lies. And where those lies come from? They came from the Spaniard. The Spaniard taught every generation after that to teach and perpetrate the same lie. That these saints, that these statues, that this cross, that these pictures were going to be something that was going to save you. That something that was going to be holy in your house. That was going to keep you safe. Let me tell you something. All the prayers and all the crosses and all of the paintings that our Chicano brothers had here in America did not save them from being deported. All the pictures and all the saints and everything that my brothers in the 60s had did not help them from being shot in the street in East LA during the moratorium when the March of Equal Rights came out. All these same pictures and saints and everything are not saving my brother today from being deported or being separated from their families. All these candles that they're the thousands and thousands and thousands of candles and vigils that they're putting up daily is not helping my brothers from being deported today. Where is that they're saying that it's gonna help? But let me tell you something. Going on to the last verse you said, our parents perpetrated this lie. Read.
They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusted in them.
Our parents trusted in these saints. Our parents trusted in these prayers. Our parents trusted in going down to the Christian church and the Catholic church and singing and dancing and hanging around everybody and saying that God loves everyone. Well, let me tell you something. It has not helped us in nothing. And let me tell you something. Read that one more time.
Oh, kind. They that make them are like unto them.
This one.
So is everyone that trusted in them.
So is everyone that trusted in them. Man, my parents trusted in them. My grandparents trusted in them. They all trusted in these saints. They all trusted in this church. They all trusted in these statues and in these pictures and in these crosses. They all trusted in these prayers that the Catholic Church gave you. And you know what? They have done nothing for our people. They have done nothing to bring us together. They have done nothing to stop the violence, stop the killings, stop the separation. They have done nothing for us. They are like it says, they are nothing. Do you have any more on that?
Man.
Yeah.
I got something to say if I could.
Go ahead.
I remember seeing a video of somewhere in Latin America where they were destroying the churches. They were rushing the churches. They were taking all the graven images out and they were bashing them. And they were on Facebook Live while doing so. And they were even bringing out how the 10 Commandments commands you not to make any graven image.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's something that we failed to understand, and thanks to the Roman Catholic Church. You know what I'm saying? Some people, most people would say that the Roman Empire fell. You know what I'm saying? But the empire itself, how it stuck together, it did fall. But you still got it today through the way it is kept its life is through the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church has been able to you know what I'm saying?
Wait.
To exploit the Americas. You get what I'm saying? After it was done, when they came over here, they had a battle going on in Europe, right? You know what I'm saying? So once they were done over there, they came over here. The Catholic priests that put in work over there, or so-called put in work, they're the ones who were allowed to come over here and convert these people. You know what I'm saying? The people of the Americas. And they were able to do that, You know what I'm saying? And that's the way that the Roman Catholic Church continues today as the Roman Empire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's heavy because, like, you got to be at a real low state for you to really sit there and think and figure out, you know what I'm saying, like the brothers in the UPK did, what's causing all of this? Why do these things only happen to us?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These brothers somewhere down there in Central and South America, they figured it out. They were like, look at the condition we in, and we going to look for salvation at this church where they have graven images when the Bible tells you not to make any graven image. You know what I'm saying? So what they did, they started destroying those churches, man. They started destroying that white image of Christ. They started destroying those saints. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It just in hope that their life would, you know what I'm saying, would better. You get what I'm saying? Something that you don't have today in America. Maybe some of our people are living too comfortable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they need to be in a worse condition for them to really turn back to the Lord. I know I'm doing this wrong, but you know, I'm gonna just continue doing it since I'm just one person and it's not gonna change much. You know what I'm saying? When the Bible says, "Do not frustrate the Lord's mercy." You know what I'm saying? If you know you're doing something wrong, then you gotta stop doing it.
That's right.
That's just like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. You know, and that's true. You know, that's why we gotta once again recognize that what's happening is happening because we're in this condition, because we're Israelites. That's why it's happening to us. That's why this thing is going through, you know, and because we're worshiping other gods, because we've taken it on ourselves to go and worship other gods. Look, Mexico, I mentioned Mexico and the pilgrimage that they do in Mexico to La Catedral, right? That's where they do the cathedral in Mexico for the Virgin Mary. But Mexico's not the only one. You know, they have a shrine everywhere. They have a shrine for the Virgin Mary. Right. If you go into Nicaragua, they have a devotional place there too. They have a place where the same thing that happened to Mexico supposedly happened to Nicaragua, where an apparition or you know, like a vision came and the Virgin Mary was there, right? But if you go through it and you check, you will find out that this story is perpetrated in Latin America, Costa Rica, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, you know, Cuba, Argentina, man, you name it, Bolivia. All these places have the same story where supposedly the Virgin Mary appeared. You know what I'm saying? El Salvador, they have La Ciudad Dolores, where they do a pilgrimage it's the Holy Week, where they go out and do the same thing, man. They do the same thing that the Mexicans do. Los Salvadoreños, our people from our brothers from El Salvador, they do the same thing. It's called Ciudad Dolores, and they go into there. The Guatemalans and the Mexicans, man, 200,000 people go there just to do this pilgrimage. You know, and that's a number that you know they throw out, but who knows how many people go out there and do this? And this is yearly that they do this. This is a religious thing that's done, and it's held nationwide, worldwide, man. You know, this thing that they perpetrated against us. But what's important to know is that, you know, they put this in our parents, and they passed it on to us, and we're destroyed because of that. We're destroyed because they've decided to perpetrate a lie that has gone down through every generation and has landed in our time. And so in our time, there's going to be certain people that are going to lift this voice and that are going to come against the norm or come against what has been taught. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin to tell our people the truth. And that truth is that all this, just the way it's telling us in the chapter of Deuteronomy, what chapter is that?
Deuteronomy. This is Psalms 135.
Psalms 135.
Verse 16.
Is there any more on that?
Nah, that's it.
Psalms 135 and 16. It's very simple, man. It's the Lord let us know that this that was happening is a perpetrated lie, and that our parents are infected with that same lie. The disease that the Spaniards bring over was called religion, and we're still infected with that same disease. That disease has not been cured. We're still being destroyed because of this that the Spaniards bring over to our countries and destroyed our people with it. Let me tell you something. The Spaniard came over with three things. What were those three things I told you? One was guns, religion, and lies. Those were the three things that the Spaniard came with them. Those were his biggest weapons. Guns, religion, and lies. The lies that have been perpetrated throughout every generation. The religion that's been given to us that we still are infected with. And war. That's what we've been given. And today, we're still there. So you know what our task is? Our task is simple. Our task is to wake up our people. Wake up our people and give this truth. And let them know that, you know what? It's time to end this. It's time to end this war and bring in this other war. And this is the war of truth. This is the truth that we're going to bring out, that's going to bring a new generation of children that are going to be smarter than we were. Because you know what? The Lord's going to call on certain of us to come out and speak these words. I posted something that said, you know, in the sense that it said, you know, not all of us are going to go out and speak, but some of us are going to die for speaking this. But you know what? That's what it is. We're going to die for speaking this. We're going to come out and we're going to raise a voice and we're going to tell people what it is. Because who's going to do it? Who else is going to go out here and speak for our generation and speak for our people? Let me tell you something. Your parents did it. That's why today when they see you in the ISUPK, they tell you you crazy. That's why today when they see you in the ISUPK, they say that, man, you know, what are you doing there? That's why your brothers and sisters, your homies, see you in the ISUPK, and they're seeing you as, man, you're crazy for being in the UPK. You know, what are you speaking? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? They see you as an outcast. They see you as you know, something completely, you know, out of the ordinary. But you know what? Our words are out of the ordinary. You're used to hearing lies. You're used to hearing soft, beautiful things. You're used to hearing the lies that the church has perpetrated against you. You're used to hearing that we're all one, that we should show love for our brothers and show love for our sisters, you know, no matter who they are. But let me tell you something. They're not showing love to you. They're killing your brothers. They're killing your sisters. And you know what? They don't care. Because to them, it's all the same. You got something?
Yeah,
read.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
That's right. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We're not going to go out there like our ancestors did in March. We're not going to go out there and do that. We're not going to go out there with signs that say equal, that we should all be the same. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go out there and fight with arms and guns. We ain't going to do that. Because the fight that's being fought today is not a carnal fight. Continue reading.
Okay. But it's like, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty.
You know what? Our weapons are mighty. What's more mightier than the truth? What's more mightier than brotherhood? What's mightier than coming together, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, Indian? And when they see you, they ain't gonna come against you. You know why? Because when they see a black man and a Mexican man together, they know they ain't with two races that do not stand down. We go all out. You know what was the strange thing? That when blacks and Mexicans fight, man, they fight till the end. They're like, man, pride comes in heavy. You know what I'm saying? When we come together as a nation of strength. The Native American Indian, he fought till he died. I would rather die than become a slave. That was what the Native Indian was. The Native Indian would not give in his crown, would not give in his suit. Even today, they prefer to live on reservations than live alongside this white man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know when you're dealing with these three nations, Black, Hispanic, Native American Indians, man, you're dealing with a real big problem. And let me tell you something. The Lord said, what?
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
It ain't carnal. Continue reading.
But mighty.
But mighty. We are mighty men. Black, Hispanic, Native American, Indian, we're mighty men. When we go into the ring, man, we mighty men. You know we're going to go till it ends. I've seen plenty of fights with blacks and Hispanics in the ring where, man, they go the 12th round. Ain't no one throwing in no time, giving up. Ain't no one saying, I'm going to give in. No way, man. They go till the very end. You see them UFC fights, they're Mexicans, man. They're going to go till it ends. They ain't giving up. They're going to come out with a broken arm. Continue reading.
Through the Most High.
Through the Most High. That's who's going to lead us. That's who's taking us there. That's who's going to have us, man. That's who's going to have our back. He's not going to allow. When we see black and Hispanics and Native American Indians come together and fight on the same turf, man, that's a mighty force. And the Lord's going to be right there with us. You know what happened? The Black Panthers, they try to do their own thing with the black people. The Brown Berets and the Brown Pride, they try to do their own thing with their own people. The Native Indian Nation try to do their own thing with their own people. And you know why? That's why we're still in the condition that we're in today. Because separated, we ain't going to do nothing. It's time to reconsider the option and know that if we come together, Black, Hispanic, Native American, Indian, we are unstoppable. Continue reading.
Through the Most High, to the pulling down of strongholds.
Let me tell you something. We're going to pull down them strongholds.
Right.
No matter who they are, where they're at, no matter what nation it is, they're not going to be able to deal with the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian known as Israel. Man, they're going to have one hell of a time dealing with brothers that are ready to die and fight for the truth of Israel and for the Most High. Continue reading. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's what it is. We are those people, man. We are those people that live in brotherhood. And let me tell you something. Mexicans, man, Issacharites and Zebulonites and Latino America, déjate digo una cosa, man. You should know that this is true. Your ancestors spoke these words. You know what? There was a great poet. His name was Nezahualcóyotl. Nezahualcóyotl means coyote who fasts. Man, the Aztecs knew what fasting was. The Aztecs knew, the Mexica knew, the Mexican Indian knew that fasting was an important part of their life. This king was known as Nezahualcóyotl. Nezahualcóyotl in the Nahuatl language means the coyote who fasts. That was here. He was an architect and he was a poet, but most importantly, was a righteous ruler. When this man ruled from 1402 to about 1472, 1500, I'm gonna say, man, the area where he ruled was Texcoco. Texcoco was a city next to Mexico City where the Aztecs were. So this man was a great ruler, man, great, honestly, ruled with pride and ruled righteously with all his people. And he was a poet above all. And this man's poetry was always for his people. He knew that his people were one. And let me tell you something. There was not only brown-skinned, light-skinned people here. There was dark-skinned Aztecs, light-skinned Mayans, dark-skinned Mayans. We were of all races with the empires of the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Texcoco and the Toltecas and the Chichimeca and all of us. We were of all shades of brown. Never let any of those fake Israelites try to tell you that, oh, you're mixed, your skin is lighter because you're Spaniard. The Bible says you will know by their spirit.
Right.
You will know them by their spirit. When you go and tell a light-skinned Mexican, oh, you know, and say, you know, the Spaniard, he's going to die, he's condemned, and he comes against you, then you know that his father was Spaniard. When you go up against a light-skinned Mexican and you tell him, you know, Zapata and Pancho Villa and, you know, Hermanos Marron and who else, Vicente Guerrero, and he tells you, damn right, man, those are warriors, then you know that that spirit is right. And you know that that man has the spirit of his ancestors. And he knows he was destroyed from these people. So all this thing, what does it say? Israel's like a speckled bird. So you know we all brown-skinned. That's exactly what we are. Light shades of brown, dark shades of brown. But you'll know us by our spirit. The poem of King Nezahualcóyotl reads like this. In English, it says, I do love the mockingbird, singing the bird of 4,000 voices. This man, let me tell you something about the Aztecs, bro. Something you don't know. Their homes, the way you live in America today, with a house, with bedrooms, 2 stories, front yard, backyard, that's what the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan was like. Their homes were lined on streets, one right next to the other. 2-story buildings with bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms. And one of the favorite things that they used to have was known as aviaries. Aviaries were bird cages that had different types of birds. And King Nezahualcóyotl loved birds. And one of his favorites was that known as the mockingbird. He said it had 400 different voices that it would sing in. This man would love to hear his birds in the morning sing. Because you know what? That was a freedom for him. That was something he loved, his birds. Goes on to say, I love jade colored, I love jade green coloring, because you know what? His brothers who wear the same thing in the ISUPK, because we follow that same tradition that our ancestors followed. Their clothing was lined with jewels and colors and different patterns and different shades. We were royalty. We dressed like royalty. To dress too. They honored their sarape, their clothing. That's the way the Mexican used to dress. The Aztec Indian. They took a bath twice a day. Nezahualcóyotl was known for taking 2 baths a day. All our people, the Aztec Indians, the Mayans, the Chichimeca, the Toltecas, we were clean people. The streets of Tenochtitlan, which is the mighty city of the Aztecs known as Tolan, their streets were clean always. They would teach their children to go out and sweep the streets daily. It was a custom for them that their children, their wives, and they would clean their streets, lined with lights daily. The king would have servants, or known as, public workers, that would clean and make sure the lights were on and make sure the streets were immaculate. The Lord's kingdom is just like that. It goes on to say, and essence of the flowers, because you know why he said that? Because their houses were not only 2 stories with bedrooms, with birds and songs, but were lined with roses. It was known for Indian and Mayans and Chichimecas from their houses. Man, my mom, her house, flowers and roses, especially roses, all in front of her house. Mexicans, you go to their houses, they got plenty of flowers. I got flowers in front of my house. I never knew why. You know what? It's in our spirit to put flowers in front of our houses. To more than the flowers in front of his house, he says, I love even more my brother, the man. Said that he loved his brother above everything. And today, that's what brotherhood is all about. We learn to love our brothers above everything. There is nothing more important than loving our brothers. What does it say? Love yourself. Love your brother as thyself. Give me that, please. That's what the Bible tells us, and that's exactly what King Nezahualcóyotl also wrote in his poem. Not only did he mention the virtues that Israel have of being clean and having a nice place and being, a righteous person, he also wrote about brotherhood. He wrote about how we should honor our brothers and love our brothers just the way we love ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. That's what was more important than anything. Our king, Nezahualcóyotl, one of the greatest kings of Texcoco, the pre-Columbian era in Mexico, he knew what the brotherhood was. He knew what it was like. He knew what it was all about. You know what I'm saying? He knew that this was more important than anything. He knew that brotherhood was more important than anything that you knew. So I'm gonna go one more time, because a lot of brothers, I don't know if you heard this, but I'm reading the poem from a great king. His name is Nezahualcóyotl. He was a great king. His name translated means coyote that fast. And this great king was king in Texcoco, one of the cities of the Mexicans during the Aztec times, 1402 to 1472. And this king was an honorable king. He was a righteous ruler in this time. And his poem was written because he was a poet, a warrior, an architect, and a philosopher. And he wrote and talked about, in his poem, about, what he loved in this earth more than anything. And he wrote that he loved the mockingbird because of the 4,000 voices that it had. He wrote that he loved the jade of green coloring because that's what he used to wear on his clothing. The way you see me wearing these jades on my headband and on my clothes, he also did the same. The Aztec Indians, the way you see my headband is the way they used to wear their royal clothes, just like that. He wrote that the everating flower essence of the flowers, because Mexicans used to live in homes just the way they are in America today. The way you see these blocks, the way you see these, that's the way you see the great city of Tola, the great city of Tenochtitlan. And then he finishes his poem by saying this: but more, above everything he loved more his brother, the man. He was talking about brotherhood. He was talking about that he loves brothers. In the ISUPK, we love our brothers. We love our brotherhood. Let me tell you something. We would never turn our brothers in to any police department. We would rather take our brother and tell him, brother, straighten out. Do you need help paying those tickets? Do you need help getting your record straight? Do you need help getting your driver's license? Let's see what we can do about getting you straight. The one thing we would never do is turn our brother in. The Lord Jesus Christ had a warrant, and the Roman soldiers went out and got him in Gethsemane, and took him in, and someone turned that brother in, and his name was Judas. Judas went and said, "There is Jesus. That's the man you're looking for. That's the guy that's raising a revolution against Rome." And they went and took him prisoner. And the rest, you know what happened to him. You know what happened to Jesus after they turned him in. They beat him and they crucified him. What are you going to turn your brothers in for? Why are you going to go and say, my brother, this man has a warrant? Turn him in. For what? For they can imprison him? For they can beat him? For they can kill him? Because that's what they're doing to black brothers today. And right. I'm Mexican. You know what I'm saying? But I see what they're doing to my black brothers. Is that why you would go and turn your brother in? Is that why you think that turning your brother in is the righteous thing? Let me tell you something. That heart is the heart. That's the spirit of Judas, the one who turned Jesus Christ in. When he decided that Jesus was worth more than Jesus, turning Jesus in was worth getting a handful of gold and silver. Right. What was Jesus worth? How many pieces of gold? 200 shekels he was worth. He thought that he would do better getting 200 shekels by turning in his brother. That's a shame. That's a shame for anybody that's an Israelite today that thinks that turning in a black man or a Hispanic man or a Native Indian American man is worth, anything. There is no glory in that. I would never turn a black man in. On the contrary, I would try to tell the black man, brother man, get out of here. you know, get out of here right now while you can. And you know what? Turn that life around. Stop doing these things that you're doing. Stop selling weed, bro. Stop selling that Yale. Stop selling that dope. You know, get it right. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to break. We're here to break that chain that we used to know before.
Right.
We're here to break that chain of worshiping idols. We're here to break that chain of turning in our brothers. We're here to break that chain of sisters looking at sisters and thinking that they're not the same, that one is better than the other. We're here to break that chain of thinking that selling dope to our brothers is going to make us rich and is the right thing to do. We're here to break that chain. We're here to speak up and become real prophets of the Lord and bring our brothers to reality. What you got?
If I can say something real quick.
Go ahead.
You know, when you're saying it's super heavy, you know, like nobody cares about us, man. We gotta care about each other. You get what I'm saying? We're getting killed on the street, and like what the brother was saying, man. Even if like most of our people get killed and shot, and the cop gets away with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But even let's say if the cop doesn't get away with it, man. You know what I'm saying? What are they gonna do? They're gonna settle with you.
Right.
They're gonna settle with you. You're gonna get a large sum of money.
Right.
But that money, no matter how much it is, it ain't gonna bring your loved one back.
Right.
It ain't gonna bring your brother back, man. The one you sold out, man. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? No matter how much money they give you, that cop is still gonna live. He's not gonna meet righteous judgment.
Right.
Until Christ comes back. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But you think that, you know, if you sue the police station and you get some money out of it, you know what I'm saying, you good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it don't matter, man. You know what I'm saying? Once you get done with all the funeral and all that, because, you know, when brothers die, you still got to, you know, the family still has to have a funeral arrangement.
Right.
You know, the brother that died got to get his organs taken out.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It costs thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And the family's left with that burden. You get what I'm saying? So before you sell drugs to your brother, think of that. You get what I'm saying? Before you wear that "Make America Great Again" hat, think of that. You know what I'm saying? Think of this when you thinking about voting. When you want to support America. When you say that Donald Trump isn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? But when you disregard a brother or a sister's life, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's a big disrespect, man. And you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't want to be done like that.
Right.
So let's not do our brothers and sisters like that, man.
That's
we cannot forget what has happened to our people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? America never forgets. I don't even know what they did yesterday for 9/11, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing with us is that they want us to forget what has happened to our people, but they'll never forget what happened to their people.
Right.
They got each and every one of their names engraved right there on Ground Zero.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll never forget about that.
Right.
And even if that place was destroyed, guess what? They got to rent somewhere else, man. They still won't never forget about it, man.
Right.
Why do we forget about our people?
Right.
We're the only nation of people that disregards our own.
Right. And let me tell you something. You know, like a lot of us, like especially the Christian and the Catholic Church, you know, and this goes for our families, you know, because my mom is like this. She talks about, well, as long as I'm not harming anybody, or as long as I'm not doing nothing to anybody, I'm good. You know, the Lord is going to know that I was a good person.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to get involved in the politics, or I'm not going to get involved in the life of anybody. I'm just going to, as long as I read and I stay online and, you know, I go to church and I worship on Sunday, I'm good. But let me tell you something. That's like saying, I don't care what happens to my brother.
Right.
That's like saying, I don't care what happens to my people.
And it's a lot. Also, you're right on that. And if I could real quick, the Bible doesn't say anything about that.
Right.
The Bible says if you don't obey the Most High,
right,
then bad things are going to come to you. Not that if you, I never wished harm on nobody. I never did no harm to nobody. That don't matter, man. Did you obey the Most High?
Right.
That's what you know what I'm saying?
It's very simple. To do something is wrong, but not to do something that you know is wrong is just as bad. You know, when you see something happening to somebody and you decide to let it go, you know what? That's just as bad as participating. like today, our brothers and sisters are being thrown out of America, the Mexican brothers and sisters, and their families are being separated. How can you excuse the Catholic Church, who has the power to stop it and has done nothing to help it?
Right.
They're continuing to allowing that to happen and have not raised a voice. But yet the Pope is going to go to Mexico and collect money, you know, from people that are going to go see him. But yet he has not raised a voice or said anything to stop what's going on in America. So with that said, it's just as bad as doing it as if you do nothing.
Right.
So this is not really about politics. This is really about not doing anything and knowing that it's wrong. And knowing that, you know what, you should be doing something and you're not.
And Salakia, you know what I'm saying? And they're calling our people criminals and deporting and separating their families.
Right.
They're killing them in the detention centers.
Right.
They're letting their children get sick and die. You get what I'm saying? For what? For them trying to come and live a better life because America destroyed their country. You're saying America destroyed their country, so they're seeking for better life. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I seen a video on a sister that was in Nicaragua, and she said that their happiness has been taken captive.
Right.
Not only they have been taken captive, but their happiness.
Right.
You say their freedom have been taken captive, man.
Right. They're living in a war zone in Nicaragua. They're living in times that, you know what, you would not want to live there. And you know what? Us ignoring it and not bringing it out. Let me tell you something. In 1979, Chile was going through the same thing Nicaragua was going through. The people of Chile were being, murdered in the street, broad daylight, by a government that hated those people because they were catering to the French, to the American, and to the Spaniard. And the people from Chile were being murdered in the street, broad daylight, by their military police.
Right.
Burned in the street. Now I'm saying burned, poured gas and burned them in the street. Picking up their children and taking them and killing them on the roadways. They were lifting people up out of nowhere. Like it was like what you seen that Hitler did, this was 10 times worse than that. So let me tell you something. In those days, there was no media like we have today.
Right.
And the media that existed was not transmitting anything that was happening to the world. They were keeping it secret.
That's going on today too, though.
But one thing is that we're seeing it today. Today we're seeing through the internet, we're seeing through other sources, stuff that's happening in Venezuela, stuff that's happening in El Salvador, stuff that's happening in Nicaragua. We can see it today. And for us to ignore it or not to say nothing or not to mention it is just the same as not doing anything. So let me tell you something. That idea of, you know what, I don't want to get into the political stuff of anybody, that's the wrong thing. Because you know what, you're really not getting into helping somebody out. Let me tell you something. Today, our children are being deported. Our children are being separated. The New York Times reported that right now is the highest rate of children that have been separated. You want to read that? Read that. We're going to read something out of the New York Times. Go ahead and read that.
Feds holding 12,800 in detention centers.
In the detention centers in America. These are children. Continue reading.
The number of migrant children being detained by the government has reached its highest level ever.
The highest level ever. We're talking about it has been unseen before. Continue reading.
According to a report by the New York Times, data obtained by the Times showed that 12,800 children were detained in federal custody this month.
This month is what you're talking about. This is not this year, but this month. Continue reading.
Compared to 2,400 children detained in May of 2017.
That was last year. It has almost quadrupled, 10 times the amount, I'm going to say. Continue.
Okay. Federal shelters housing migrant children have remained filled at around 90% capacity since May of this year.
So let me tell you something. The detention centers for the Hispanic children being detained are completely full. If you didn't know that, they're taking money out of FEMA, is sending money from their institution to help house more of these children. Continue reading.
The increase is not due to an influx of more migrant children.
So it's not because there's more kids coming to America, but it's because the same children that are living here in America that have been here for, I don't know, 10, 15 years are being picked up now. Continue reading.
But rather because fewer children are being released into the custody of sponsors.
So let me tell you something. What are those sponsors? You know what those sponsors are? Those are houses that they're sending these kids that are not their families. They're separating mothers and fathers and then giving their children to other families. And let me tell you something. Last year, 1,200 of those children were not accounted for. They put them in homes and then they couldn't find them anymore. They didn't know what happened to these children. And let me tell you something. The selling of body parts and organs is a high market today. Child abuse, child molestation, child labor is in high demand today. These children that don't speak English or that speak English that don't have parents, man, they abuse their own children. What makes you think they're not doing that to these children? Continue reading. Oh, that's it? Okay. So what makes you think that that's not happening to these Mexican kids? They hate Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. What makes you think that these kids are going to good homes, or that they're respecting these kids, or that they're treating them right? You see videos of movie stars, rich people who got Black male children and are dressing them like females, turning them into homosexuals. Come on, man. These are our kids. This is our blood. These are our people. And they're doing that to our people. So how can you tell me that you know what? I don't get into the politics. I don't get into this and that. I don't want to pay attention. I just want to be a good person. Let me tell you something. The minute you ignore this, you're no longer a good person. You're just as bad as they are.
Right.
You're to blame for everything that's happening to them. And when the Lord comes back, he's going to tell you what happened. How come you never spoke up? How come you never said anything, knowing that these things were happening? How come you haven't said anything about the destruction of Puerto Rico and how they did that to them? How come you haven't raised your voice? Don't you have a voice? Don't you have the Spirit of the Lord? Aren't you reading the Bible? Then why is it that you haven't spoke for your own people? Why is it that these people are still in the condition that they're in and you haven't said anything? So don't come and say that, you know what, I'd rather not deal with politics. I'd rather not deal with what's going on. We're all guilty of not saying anything of what's going on with our own people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, real quick. Also, you know what I'm saying? Like what the sister down there in Nicaragua said was that we're getting killed on the streets. Like we're getting killed on the street, and our children are getting killed on the street.
Right.
How can we stay separate?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Nicaraguan people. Well, she even said, man, how can we stay separate if we're being killed and our children are being killed? Meaning, like, before this started happening, they seen differences between their own people. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be because of economic issues, you know what I'm saying, reasons, or whatever the reason may be, they were seeing differences between each other. But you know what I'm saying? But that didn't matter because when people started getting killed, it was both their children.
Right.
So she's saying, man, there's our children are getting killed. We're getting killed, man. How could we stay separate, man? And that's a message for us out here, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we're getting killed on the streets. We're getting killed on a day-to-day basis, not only by guns. I've said it before. You know, there's other weapons that they use against us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But man, if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments, you know what I'm saying? No prosper. What is it? No weapon.
No weapon will prosper against you.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Planned Parenthood is a weapon. Drugs is a weapon. Gangs. You know what I'm saying? All that is a weapon, man, that they use against you.
Right.
And if you with the Lord, none of those weapons will prosper. Will take effect on you. They won't be able to hurt you, man. Why? Because the Lord's gonna be on your side, man. And even this lady down there, it's like the sister down there in Nicaragua said, man, we're getting killed on the street. How can we see ourselves different if they see no difference in us,
right,
you know what I'm saying? That was it.
right. And let me tell you something, man. It's true what Shawan's saying. You know, it's time that we gotta. The way she says, you know what? There's just no like. There is nothing they can do. They feel like helpless. That's the feeling you get.
Right.
You get a helpless feeling of not being able to do nothing. You know what? Black man, Hispanic man, Native American Indian man, we know that feeling. You know why we know that feeling? Because when the cop pulls you over, you ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
You know you feel helpless. All you're waiting for is if they're gonna beat you, if they're gonna arrest you, or if they're gonna shoot you on the spot. Because you know what? That's the helpless feeling that we all get. That's the helpless feeling that Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians have been like, you know, taught to feel. This is like, how could I say it? This is like a feeling that they're perpetrating on all of our people. They want to make sure that as soon as they roll up on you, you become weak. You become a weak-minded individual. You become a weak person that knows that, you know what, I can't do nothing. As soon as they step on your porch, the cop comes over, steps on your porch, you know you haven't done nothing wrong, but that feeling you get is a weak feeling, knowing that you can't say or do anything. And you know what? That goes because sometimes, you know what, you might feel that you can say something, but how about your father? How about your moms? How about your brother? How are you going to feel when they come and do that to them? How are you going to feel when you're helpless, when you have no kind of power to be able to stop what they're about to do to your family? You have something to say?
Yeah, you know, real quick, you know what I'm saying? Now that you're talking about that, it's bring it out, it's just that, like, when you saying that feeling that you get, you know what I'm saying, when you know you're doing something wrong, when you're in the world, you know you're doing something wrong and you get pulled over by the cop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different feeling than when you get pulled over by a cop and you're in the truth. A whole different.
Oh yeah,
it's all
right
different.
About that.
It's like a whole new experience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you know you ain't doing nothing wrong.
Right.
You know, and the thing is that, you know, I've seen it. I've dealt with it. The fear that other people have of seeing, like you said earlier, Black and Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Together in unity. Right. You know what I'm saying? We see it on the street. We feel it when we're like 10, 12, even when we're 10 deep, we're deep to them. Right. They fear us. And you know what I'm saying? When you with the Akim, with the brothers, you know what I'm saying? You feel the power that you have. That right there is the power that you get through Christ, you know what I'm saying? Because of the Most High. Like you can, man, it's an unexplainable feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? And as opposed to feeling fear, feeling not knowing if your life is going to end right now. Right. You get what I'm saying? And just imagine when we get deeper, man. Imagine when instead of 20, 30, 40 brothers, man, it's a 20, 30, 40 families, man. We're talking about 300, 400 people. When we're an army. When we're a people again, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? We're building this army, and we're building it one by one, man. That's right. What is this? What does the Bible say? Paraphrasing that the angels rejoice over one sinner. Right. One sinner at a time. Man. The truth. Wanting to come in and be able to do what I'm saying, what I'm doing now and speak, but it's a feeling you get of security. You know, I don't fear the police. I don't fear any problems with them. I don't fear for my kids. I don't fear for nothing. You know, not too long ago, I ran into a problem with my little one. But you know what? I went down there and it seemed like it was already set that I was going to win that battle, that I was going to be able to get through that. You know what I'm saying? Because here there is that fear that you once had when you're in the world, that fear doesn't come here. You know, I'm going to say, you know, the words are plenty. There's plenty of words to speak, but there are very few men to speak them. There's not a lot of us who are going to go out there and speak this truth. There's not a lot of us who are going to go out and teach our people who we were, what our heritage was, and how we're really those people that are going to uphold and change the generation that's going to come after us. We've been taught lies, like I said earlier. We've been taught lies. Our grandfathers, our mothers and fathers, we've been dealt lies. The card that's been dealt to us has been nothing but lies. We've been living a fake life this whole time. But now there's a generation stepping up that's going to come out and speak a truth.
And this truth that we speak is an inconvenient truth. You know why? Because what I speak is not convenient for everybody. Not everybody likes these words that are coming out of my mouth. My own brothers come against me. Because why? You're speaking racism. You're speaking hate. But you know what? They don't say that white man hates the Mexican. They don't say that Mexican woman that's saying that Trump is a vote for Trump. He's not saying she's a racist woman. She knows exactly what she's speaking about. She's speaking about get Mexicans out of here. And what did we just say? How many kids are being held today? 12,800 kids are being held right now in America. And they're not planning to bring their families together. That's LA Times putting this out. You know what they're planning to do with those kids? Put them in different homes. You know whose homes? Not their families' homes, but other people's homes. They're calling them sponsors. But who are they really? Who are these people that they're putting these kids into? You know what? We don't know. Nobody knows. You know when we'll find out? When it comes out that these kids were molested, that these kids were abused, that these kids were killed, that their insides were sold, that they sold their parts, their liver, their kidneys, and these kids are traumatized for the rest of their life. That's what they see us like, man. They see us as nothing. And you know what the problem is? That none of us have stepped up to talk for our people. We care about ourselves. We care about our daily lives, but we don't care about our own people. You know what? It's a shame that you call yourself a strong man or a strong woman, or that you call yourself a Mexican with Mexican pride and allow this to happen to our children and not speak up on it. You'd rather go and hang out with your goddamn homies and drink a beer and talk about stupidities than go out and speak about your people. Or you'd rather go out and do some nonsense with your homies than speak about what's happening to these children. You know what? This is not for everybody. This is for the strong. This is for men. This is for a revolutionary heart that's here to speak up for our own people, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. That's what we're here for. That's why we step up. That's why we have this class. That's why it's called the Inconvenient Truth, because not everybody's ready for this. You know what? We're all going to come to this truth one day, the easy way or the hard way. Those that are going to come into this truth the hard way, man, you're going to wish you would have came in the easy way. But when it comes to that day, you're going to find that, you know what? That was not the right choice. That was not the time to decide, oh yeah, Kazakh is speaking truth. I want to join him. That day is going to be a tough one. The Lord tells us, man, you don't want to live those days. You don't want to be those days. You better hope that you don't live those days, because those days are coming and you're going to be part of it. We got a 9/11, right? People are celebrating 9/11. They prefer to celebrate a heathen holiday or a day that happened to them than celebrate the day that happened to you. You know, they give you one day for what happened to your people. Not even that. They don't even give you a day for what happened to your people. But they'll celebrate their day all the time. They'll close banks. They'll close businesses to remember what happened to them. But do they ever remember what happened to you? Do they ever remember what happened to your people? No, man, they don't.
If I could real quick, you know what I'm saying? What you bring out super heavy. It's like they don't care about what happened to our people. You know what I'm saying? But they'll never forget what happened to their people.
Right.
What happened on 9/11? It was a white people issue, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those Arabs or East Indians, it's like I'm not even sure which one they were, but you know what I'm saying? They didn't go to the ghetto, man. They didn't go to the hoods. They didn't crash LA.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't crash the Bronx.
No.
You get what I'm saying? They went into the Twin Towers, man, where they did business. Isn't that what happened right there at the Twin Towers?
That's exactly what happened.
There was the World Trade Center. You know what I'm saying? The World Trade Center wouldn't even existed if America hadn't exploited everything from the Americas, from Central, South, and North America,
damn right,
to trade out there to China, to Europe. You know what I'm saying? Man, those towers should have never existed in the first place, man.
Right.
That's the reason why they were brought down. You know what I'm saying? And what happened then, to them, it was a white people issue, man. Like I was saying, the Arabs didn't attack the ghettos. They didn't fly into the Bronx. You get what I'm saying? They attacked the World Trade Center, man, where they knew it was going to damage the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Where they knew they were going to feel it at, man.
Right.
The white men don't have compassion, man. They had to think wisely on how to hit them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They had to think wisely, and they hit them. And they hit them right in the heart. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the thing is that we don't remember what happened to our people one day a year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We remember every day, every weekend, every Wednesday, every Monday through Sunday. We remember what happened to our people, man. Right. We hold a memorial for our people every day. Right. You know what I'm saying? Not just once a year, man.
Right. Khan, you're right. You're right. You know what? That's so true. We don't celebrate what happened to our people once a year. We celebrate it daily. We celebrate it every Wednesday. We celebrate it every Saturday. We celebrate it every day we open the book. It reminds us that this happened to our people. It reminds us that our people have been through hell and still live through hell. Right. It reminds us that this is what's happening to us. You know, so as a reminder, we remind our people that this is a serious matter and that we all have to do the same. We have to remember what happened to our people, and we have to honor them with what? With waking up our people and bring them into this truth and letting them know that, you know what? Someone has got to remember our ancestors. Who's going to do it? We're going to remember our ancestors. We're going to remember what happened to our people. We're going to remember the plight and destruction of what happened to the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indians. You guys remember?
Yes, I got a scripture real quick.
Go ahead. Hey, take over from me real quick. Catch this phone. Lock you. Let me get this real quick. Go ahead and take over.
Salaki, so you know what I'm saying? What we're bringing out, what the brother was bringing out is super heavy, man. You know, they don't care to celebrate on what happens to our people, man. When we're trying to have a memorial or show some kind of, you know what I'm saying, show some kind of compassion to what happened to our people. Like look what's happening today. Well, what's going on today is that Colin Kaepernick, right? Because he tried to take a knee or take a stand or try to show that he cared about what was going on with his people. You know what I'm saying? Because he tried to do that. What happened, man? The white man started burning Nike shoes. You get what I'm saying? So at first he's sitting down during the national anthem, right? You know what I'm saying? Metaphorically taking a stand, right, for what's happening to his people. And then what happened? Then he has a Navy SEAL as a friend that told him, nah, man, don't sit down. That's disrespectful. Take a knee, because that's what we do when we have a fallen soldier, right? So what did he start doing, man? All right, since his soldiers were you know what I'm saying, were murdered, you know, unrightfully, you know what I'm saying? So he started doing what? So he started taking a knee instead of sitting down during the national anthem, man. You know what I'm saying? So him taking a knee showed that he was aware of what was going on with his people, and that he felt like something needed to change. He felt like, man, he knew that, because he knew that his people needed that support, man, from somebody. Because nobody that is a rapper, nobody that has money like that does that for their people, man. And he noticed that. So what does he do? He decides to make a stand for his people, man. You get what I'm saying? He makes a stand for his people, and by not standing up and putting his hand over his heart during the national anthem, America do? America starts burning Nikes, man. White people start burning Nikes across the nation. I'm not even sure if it was real, but I seen some idiot might burn his damn house down for burning his Nikes.
Oh, right. I saw that.
He all cracked out too, so it might be real. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that they're doing this as a rebellion against a man that feels that understands what's happening with his people and wants to, you know what I'm saying, and show the world that they know what's up, man. That they know what's going on with his people. He showed the world that he knows what's going on with his people, man. And he knew that nobody else in his shoes in other words, that has money like that, or has something on the line, it was doing, man. Nobody else was doing that. But like General Muhammad said, man, Colin Kaepernick did more. It's like he did more. He has more courage than your Christian or Catholic priest.
Damn right.
And more courage than the IUIC, but has less, and is nothing compared to what the brothers in the ISUPK have done, man.
Right.
We have given up our lives, man. We've given up our time, our you know what I'm saying, our bodies, man, our families. That's what we've given up. You know what I'm saying? Pork, shrimp, lobster, that's easy to give up, man. That's the easy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The hard, what's hard, man? Let go of everything that you were ever taught. Let go of your family. You know what I'm saying? Because what did Christ say? That a man that wasn't able to love the truth more than paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't a worthy man, man. If you can't go against your moms, you can't go against your pops, man, then you're not worthy of rolling with Christ, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so heavy about every brother and sister in the UPK, man. You know what I'm saying? Is that we let go of everything and we started serving Christ, man. You know what I'm saying? And you will only find that in the UPK. Like the brother was bringing out, you know, there's a lot of things that are known. A lot of things people know what we do, but there's a lot of things that people don't know. It's like we do a lot of things that people don't know about. You know what I'm saying? You won't know until you get the work, man. You know what I'm saying? But this work is righteous work, and it'll leave you. But when you find out, you know what I'm saying, or 2-3 years from now, when you realize you still haven't joined the UPK, but you're still watching the classes, right? You're gonna understand. Once you come in, then you'll understand how much more advanced you could have been by just joining in and going from there, man. Just join, you know what I'm saying? Follow orders. It's like get in contact with the captain closest to you and start following orders, man. You know what I'm saying? And your life will start changing, man. You'll start serving Christ. Your mentality will change, man. You will have now the spirit of the Lord in you instead of the spirit of Esau, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're programmed to do.
You know, we change a lot of things. Like this week, you know, a lot of us celebrated the High Holy Day.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things where you know that you're in the truth. You know, you're no longer celebrating the holidays that you were taught to celebrate throughout all your generations, but now you've decided to go back to what was the holiday that you should be celebrating, to the original holidays. For a lot of us Mexicans and Central Americans, we don't realize that some of the holidays that we should be celebrating were our ancestors' holidays. You know, now we've taken on the holidays of our enemy. We're celebrating their holidays. And one of the hardest things to do is to get away from those holidays. Why? Because your whole family still celebrates those holidays. They see you celebrating the Feast of Pentecost, or what is it? The feast that just passed.
The
blowing of the trumpets.
Right.
The blowing of the trumpets. You know, you tell them. You know, they call you. Hey, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm celebrating the blowing of the trumpets. And they'll tell you, well, what is that? You know what I mean? What is that all about? Well, because they don't even recognize what it is, right? You're going to celebrate the Pentecost. You're going to celebrate the High Holy Days. You're going to celebrate unleavened bread. And right away, they're looking at you like, you know, well, what is all that? You know, your friends are making fun of you because they're thinking, oh, you're celebrating the Jewish holidays. But what they don't understand is that this is where it is that we say that, you know, we've left our life, and we're living the right life. We've left who we were. You know what I'm saying? We've changed that. We've left what we used to do, and now we're doing completely different. Now we're adjusting ourselves to a whole new life, a whole new lifestyle, whole new beliefs, whole new everything. You know what I'm saying? This is where it counts. We're not those people no more. We have died, and we've come back to life. And the life that the Lord has given us is a life of helping our brothers to change. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's really about. It's about helping your brothers to come into change. How are you going to do that? ISUPK is going to teach you how to do that. We're going to teach you how to come in here and uphold the truth, uphold the holidays, uphold your heritage, uphold your brothers.
It's like I was bringing this out earlier. You know what I'm saying? The how you feel or the feeling you get when you're around the brothers as opposed to around policemen, right? You know what I'm saying? You won't know the feeling until you come up around us, man. You need to, you know what I'm saying? You need to get a hold of this brotherhood, man, that you will only find in the ISUPK. You know what I'm saying? For all you brothers and sisters out there interested, man, we having a cookout right here in California on November 17th, man. That weekend is gonna pop off. You know what I'm saying? So it's still like a month, like a month and a half away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can come down here and you can get that feeling. You know what I'm saying, of how it's supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? And other than that, we got the Passover. You know what I'm saying? Coming up next year. But man, try to make it out to California Cookout, man. It's gonna be right here in Pasadena. You know what I'm saying? Info is on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Just go to any of our pages. It should be posted, and that's where you're gonna get the true sense of brotherhood, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard about the school. I was gonna come into the school, but it wasn't until I came that I got that feeling, and I was like, man, I got that. You know, I felt the power. Or I got the sense in my head to keep coming to class. You get what I'm saying? It's a whole different thing. You watching the classes and you being around the brothers. You know what I'm saying? So what you want to do is you want to try to make it out to either a physical class or you know what I'm saying, one of these cookouts, man. Get yourself, you know, you can bring your family, have some food, have some dinner, enjoy this brotherhood, man.
And let me tell you something. That whole thing about the cookout is a perfect example of changing yourself, of getting yourself to change. The Lord told us we need to change. He told us He was going to come and you know, bring that spirit to us. And this spirit is a different spirit. Now you're going to see Mexicans and blacks together in one single place, something that you hadn't seen in a long time. You know, in California, we live in California, and I know a lot of you know that there's always been a black and brown type of beef.
Right.
We've always had black and brown beef. There's always been that issue between blacks and Hispanics. They have pinned us against each other, and we've fallen for that lie. And we've come against each other for a long time. You know, during the 70s, I knew there was a black and brown thing going on. During the 80s in school, there was a lot of that black and brown stuff going on. You know, the blacks hated the Mexicans, and the Mexicans hated the blacks. You know what I'm saying? There was all-out fights at schools. You know, you go to school, you see black people coming up against Mexican people. You know what I'm saying? There was an all-out thing about, you know, shooting Mexicans and shooting blacks. You know, we were always at each other's necks. We were always trying to separate. You know what I'm saying? The Bloods, the Crips, the Mexicans. Always this separation between us. Well, it's time to end that separation. It's time to bring down that wall. And this time, when we get together, we're going to be more powerful than we ever were. I mentioned before, you know, when we were alone, we always try to do some things by ourselves, but you know what? It's never worked out. The separation between blacks and Mexicans is something that's been orchestrated by a government that has done nothing but want to separate two of the strongest people on this earth. That's what it really is. The politics between blacks and Mexicans has been a thing that's been issued because of the potential of separating two nations that are powerful nations, and that's blacks and Hispanics. Let me tell you something. In the wars that have been, Vietnam and the Korean War and World War II, you know what? The strongest people out there have always been the blacks and the Hispanics. You know what? The Native Indian, you know, they were the ones who stopped that war in man, we were the ones walking point. You know why? Because we were those strong, fearless warriors that would go out there and walk point. You know what I'm saying? That's why we were the ones put to that task, to go out there and risk our lives. Our children risked their lives. You know what I'm saying? We came back to America to be discriminated on. During the Korean War, it was the same thing. The Mexican and the black, we were the ones out there getting killed, putting our lives on the line to free a country that hated us, to free a nation that despises us, that has always done that to us. They see us as the enemy. You got something for that? Read.
Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Hosea tells us, man, we're destroyed for lack of knowledge because we haven't realized that we are that strong nation, that we are the arms of this nation, that we are the heart when it comes to true soldiers, true fearless nation. That's us right here. When you put us in the ring, put us out in the court, put us anywhere, man, we go all out. We are a fearless nation. Continue reading.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
But we've rejected the knowledge. We've rejected to understand that together we are a strong nation. Issachar and Judah together is an unstoppable nation. It's a nation that, you know what, is to be feared. Continue reading.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
So let me tell you something. The more we continue to stay separated, the more we continue to reject the knowledge of the Lord, understand that that's going to be the end of us. The Lord's going to put us to death because we refuse to gather together. What does that precept say? Zephaniah, gather yourself together, O nation not desired. We are that nation that's not desired. We are that nation that he's saying, gather together, because he knows that we're separated. Continue reading.
That thou shalt be no priest to me.
Let me tell you something. Right now is the time to come into this truth and become a priest. Right now is the time to come into the UPK and do this work. It's time to come in here and do the job that's being put to us to do. Without us, man, a nation is lost. The nation of the Issacharites, the nation of the Judites, the 12 tribes of Israel, the only reason that we're becoming strong is because someone woke us up. Who woke us up? The ISUPK in 1969. They decided to wake this nation up and let us know that we are the children of Israel, the 12 tribes that the Lord has chosen to wake up this nation. Continue reading.
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power.
Let me tell you something. Have you forgotten the law of your power? Have you forgotten the law of the Lord, the laws of God, the law of Yahweh, the 12 commandments, and all the laws that come with it? That it's nothing, it's something simple that we should not be together. But let me tell you something, the Lord tells you different. And I've told you before, the proof is that in the 1960s, the Black Panthers were trying to do their own thing. In the 1960s, the Brown Berets and the Chicano movement were trying to do their own thing during the moratorium, during the Zoot Suit riots. They were gathering themselves together as Mexicans, as Chicanos, as Latinos, and trying to raise equal rights for themselves. Our Judite brothers or our Black brothers, los Morenos, were trying to do the same. And in another corner, the American Indian was trying to do the same thing. Raise up his own rights, raise up his own laws, separate, all of us separate. How do I know that this has not come true, has not worked out? Because today, how many children are being held captive?
12,800.
12,800 Mexican children are being held in cages. The most that has been seen. They're being held in those camps that are now the concentration camps of today. So says the LA Times. And you're over there thinking that this is a joke. You're over there thinking that it's all smiles and happiness. You're over there thinking that we're not doing work here. But let me tell you something. We're doing more work than anybody out there. We're out here spilling the truth. What did I say? It's very simple. Words are plenty. There's plenty of words to speak, but there's few men to do it. You're not a man if you ain't out there doing this work. We're out there on the weekends. On Saturday, I could be with my family. I prefer to be out there in the street calling my people to this reality. Continue reading.
Oh, God. I was like it. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children.
You know what? The Lord has forgotten our children. He's forgotten us because our ancestors forgot his laws. Because our ancestors have decided to eat pork, lobster, shrimp, worship the Virgin Mary, worship that white Jesus, go to the Catholic Church, go and unite with the same people that destroyed them. They decided to go do that, and the Lord has forgotten us. And you know what? As for our people, even you that are Israelites, you have forgotten that. You know what? You may think you know that you're an Israelite, but you have forgotten that what's more important is to join with your people. You have forgotten that what's more important is to come here. You have forgotten that going out on the street on a Saturday and posting up and calling those that don't know they're Israelites, you've forgotten that work. You think that being on the internet and posting up stupidity and thinking that you're speaking truth and thinking by fighting with other people that already know they're Israelites, that you think you're doing your work. You think that by arguing with someone who knows they're an Israelite, you think you're putting in work. You ain't putting in work. By typing and being on the internet to other brothers who already know they're Ishmaelites, the work is going out on the street. The work is going out there and risking yourself that a devil is going to come against you and break up your camp and start violence against you because you're out there calling your people to the truth. That's the real work. That's the work that you're risking, como se dice en México, arriesgándote el cuero. Isn't that the word? Estás arriesgando el cuero, risking your skin, speaking this truth. We ain't no cowards. We're out there doing the work. You see us here today, this is the Wednesday class. To us, this is a simple class. This is what do they call it? This is simple work right here. To be on this class and speak this, man, this is simple work. I'm speaking to all Israelites. I'm speaking to people called Issachar, Judah, Israel. This is simple work. You know where the hard work is? When you go out on the street and you got a brother out there who's Hispanic, whose last name is Ruiz or Sanchez or Delgado or something like that, and he doesn't know he's an Issacharite, and you're telling him the Virgin Mary is a devil. Jesus Christ that you're stepping on the feet is a devil. That cross you're wearing is a heathen symbol. Those are the brothers that come up against you. Those are the brothers who are spitting words at you that you're about to start a fight with them, or that they're about to start a fight with you. Those are those brothers out there. That's war out there. You don't know what it is. You ain't been at no Saturday service like that, man. You don't know what it's like. Continue.
I got a precept for what we're talking about. This is in the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another.
That we love one another. That we go out there and call our brothers out of the situation that they're in. That we go and call our brothers out of darkness. Not people that are already out of it. Not people that already know they're out in the truth. But people who have no idea what the truth is. Continue reading.
As I have loved you.
Because he loved us. Because he risked his life going out there and calling his people. He risked his life going out there and gathering the masses and speaking to them the truth. He risked his life going up a government known as the Roman Empire in a time that it was not right to speak these things. He risked his life and he was crucified on a tree because he spoke the same words that we speak today. Read.
Verse 13, greater love hath no man.
Let me tell you something. There is no greater love than that. Than calling a brother that's lost, calling a brother out on the street who doesn't know, and bringing him into the truth. And let me tell you something. If you think it's a waste of time, most of us have come into the truth because of brothers who've been preaching on the street. I think all of us have come into the truth because of people like Captain Meshach, General Mahaiman, Captain Tazaria, and watching him on the street and going, and a lot of my brothers that are in the truth because they went out there and saw us at camp and saw us and saw the fight that we're doing and seen us go up against heathens and seen us fight this fight. That's the real fight right there. That's when you know you're really doing the work, not no petty type on the internet all day long thinking you're posting up truth. That's helpful, but those are already people that are known to be, that know who they are, that know this truth. When are you going to go do the real work? Continue reading.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man laid down his life.
That a man laid down his life. Let me tell you something through experience of being out there on a Saturday and hell breaks loose and you end up in jail. Because why?
That a man laid down his life.
Because I would lay down my life for my brothers at camp. Because I would step up for any of my brothers that are out there. Whether he be Judah, whether he be Israel, Issacharite, whether he be Zebulonite or Gadite, I will step up to the plate, and my brothers know it. I ain't hesitating. I'm the first one in the front line, stepping up to anybody who comes up against my brothers. Continue reading.
That a man laid down his life for his friends.
For his friends. These are my friends. These are my brothers. Continue reading.
Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you.
Let me tell you something. We're the brother of the Lord if we do for whatever he commands us. And he commands us to take this word to the world. Continue reading. And let me tell you something. That's what it is. I lay down my life for my brothers. I think I've proven myself, as most of my brothers have proven when we were out there, that you know what, we're ready to go down. We're ready to do this. That's a man's job out there. Those are real men. I know who I'm with. I know that behind me stand real men of the ISUPK. I know that behind me there today, because we're still going out there, seeing the stuff we go, seeing the situations that we go through out there. They're still out there on the Sabbath. They're still out there spreading this word. They have not given up. They have not said, man, that's crazy, man. I ain't gonna go out there and risk it. We all risk it. We risk everything we got. We've left our old life and upheld this life right here. And you know what? Our ancestors would do the same. Aztecs, when you put on that eagle suit or the jaguar suit, you were going to go out there to risk your life. As soon as you put on that uniform, if you were an eagle, a warrior, or a jaguar warrior, you knew that the minute you suited up, you were going to die for your people. You were going to go out there and give it everything you had. Man, you weren't coming back. Because why? Because you were an elite warrior in the ranks of the Aztec people. And let me tell you something. When you come into the UPK, that's exactly what you are. You're an elite warrior for the people of the Lord. Upholds the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's who you turned out to be. This is nothing new. This that I'm going through, to me, is like I'm going back to my original source. Personally, to me, it's like I'm suiting up once again. When I was back before I came to this world as me right now, in my old state, in my life before, I had to be an eagle warrior. I had to be a jaguar warrior because my spirit tells me I want war. You know what I'm saying? Man, right. I had to be that person because I don't fear any of this. I come out here and I do this work. Anybody out there is nothing compared to me if you're not out there with me. If you ain't out there with my brothers, if you ain't out there risking it, man, you fall short of what I call people that were my ancestors with me, who stood in these suits, who did this work, who did this stuff. They kill Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians every day. And I go out there and I speak for them every day, every weekend. I go out there and speak for them. That's why I know that in my old life, in my old world, we are our ancestors. We are those that we've been waiting for. That's who we are. We are those people that we've been waiting for. We are those people that have decided, you know what, one day there's going to be a generation that's going to come out and free us from this captivity that we're in. And guess what? All the men in the UPK, that's exactly who we are. We are those men that we've been waiting for. And it's time for us to stand up. You got something? Read.
Baruch chapter 3 and verse 4.
Baruch 3 and 4.
O Lord Almighty, thou power of Israel.
He's the power of Israel. He's my power. He's Kasharwan's power. He's the power for all of my brothers in the UPK. Read.
Hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
You know what? We're going to go out there and we're going to give those prayers for the dead Israelites. Hear the prayers of the dead Israelites. Hear the prayers of those of us who have died in this country, lost in these lies, lost in this history, lost in these times, that they've given us, that we've been blinded to who we are. Continue reading.
And of their children.
We are those children of those people that were put away, those people that were killed, those people that didn't realize the power that they had. Continue reading.
Which have sinned before thee.
And let me tell you something. Our grandfather, our great-grandfather, our parents have sinned before the Lord. You know why? Because they've taken on the religion of the Spaniards. They've taken on worshiping all these idols, all these statues, all these pictures, all these crosses that have been put up. They've taken on the idols of the heathen. Continue reading.
And not hearkened unto the voice of thee, their power.
And let me tell you something. They have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord, unto the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. But us here in the UPK, let me tell you something. We got the message that the Lord sent in 1969. He said, we're the 12 tribes of Israel. And you know what? He said that we're going to wake up. And you know what? We're waking up to this truth. Continue reading.
Fine. For the which cause these plagues cleave unto us.
And let me tell you something. These plagues that the Lord sent have cleaved unto us. You know what plague is that? The plague of taking your name. The plague of taking your heritage. The plague of putting you in captivity. The plague of serving your master, the ones that hate you. Continue reading. That's what that's the curses that we're living today. And the Lord has sent those against us. And that's why we're here. That's why the UPK and the brothers in the UPK, that's what we're here for. We're here to help, to liberate our brothers and sisters from this hell that we're living today.
Right.
And this is the way you do it right here. Coming into the UPK, girding up your loins, going out there, speaking against our enemy, and bringing our people to the truth. What you got? That's what we're here for. We're here for that particular reason. Let me tell you something. I know I was a warrior because I got that spirit in me. Because Sharwan knows he was a warrior because he's got that spirit in him. And all the brothers that come into the UPK, man, we all warriors. All my brothers, all my Judite brothers, all my Levite brothers, all my Issacharite brothers, all my Zebulonite brothers, all my brothers in the UPK, you know you're a warrior because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. You won't settle for less. You won't settle for anything but what's really, really hardcore. And that is the ISUPK.
Right.
We're those that won't settle for less. We ain't going to soften. We ain't going to, turn in our brothers. We ain't going to turn our backs on anybody. We going to be those true warriors that were murdered, killed, and destroyed when we were here back in the older days. Got it?
Yeah, I got a scripture on Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 26. For they went and served other gods.
That's what happened to us. My Mexican mom, my Mexican dad, my grandfathers decided to go and worship another god. My spirit didn't know any better. I was asleep. I was dead in the spirit. I went along just with what they said. But you know why I went along with what they said? Because I was in search of who I really was. I was in search of, number one, the Most High, the Lord, because my ancestors believed in him. And my spirit told me, man, that's who it is, the Lord. I was in the wrong, but you know what? The Lord led me to this day. Continue reading.
For they went and served other gods and worshiped them.
We worship those gods. We have those statues in the house. We have those pictures in the house. We go to the Catholic Church. We go to the Christian church, and we worship gods that are not ours. Continue reading.
And worship them, gods who they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them.
Let me tell you something. We didn't know those gods. We didn't know that white Jesus. We didn't know the Virgin Mary.
Right.
We didn't know el Santo Niño de Antoche, la Santa Muerte. We didn't know who's that, San Martin de Porres. We didn't know any of these people. These gods are appearing from nowhere. And what are we doing? we're worshiping these gods. We're taking these gods and we're like, okay, we'll worship him. Oh, my mom said it's okay, so I'll worship him. Let me go buy a candle and light it up in the kitchen because he's going to keep me safe. Let me go over and buy this portrait and put it up on my wall. I'm going to pay $150 for this picture that's a print, and I'm going to put it up on my wall. I'm going to go buy this statue in Tijuana, which is 10 foot tall, and put it in the back of my yard and put fishes in it and make a temple in my backyard, and I'm going to keep it right there. I'm going to go and put the Virgin Mary in the front of my house with the water fountain and make sure that people know that I worship this virgin. We didn't know about that. These are not our gods. Continue reading.
Verse 27, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land.
And let me tell you something. The anger of the Lord kindled upon Mexico. The anger of the Lord kindled upon South America. The anger of the Lord kindled against South America. And the anger of the Lord kindled against North America. The Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian made the Lord mad. Why? Because we were worshiping the idols of the Spaniards, the French, the English, and we went and took on customs that were not ours. And we preferred to worship their gods than worship the Lord himself. Continue reading.
Okay. To bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book.
And let me tell you, what curses are those? The curses of Deuteronomy. Those are the curses that the Lord bring upon us. Why? Because we went out and worshiped other gods. Because we decided we were going to go do our own thing. Today, a lot of brothers who think, oh, I don't need to be in the UPK. I don't need to be an Israelite. They're going out and doing their own thing. Once again, what are we doing? We're kindling the anger of the Lord. But this time is the last time. This is the last time that this is going to happen. This is the last time that we will fight like this. This is the last time that we will bring truth to our people. This is the last page in this book. We're the last generation called to do this work. The Lord has woken up the spirit of the true warriors at the end of the time, that it's going to take us to wake up a nation known as Israel. Continue reading. Okay.
The secret things belong unto the Lord our power.
So let me tell you something. Those secret things, those things that we didn't know, they belong to the Lord. Those are the things we should have learned. Those are the law, statutes, and commandments we should have come up on. But you know what? We've held them away from ourselves. And now they become just secret things. Continue reading.
But those things which are revealed belong to us.
Those things that are revealed, that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, those things that are being revealed in our time, the law, statutes, and commandments that we need to keep, those things that are revealed to us of who's our enemy and who are those nations that come against us and who their real names are and who we are, that's being revealed to us. Continue reading.
And to our children forever.
And now it's being revealed to us and to our children. I'm giving this knowledge to my kids, to my grandkids, Salakia, to my grandkids. And my grandkids, if be it, will give it to their kids, if we see that time. But today, we're revealing all this to our children and to our grandchildren, that we can let them know who we are and what the Lord is to us, and the law, statutes, and commandments that we keep. Any more?
That we may do all the words of this law.
Let me tell you something, that we do all the words of this law. Let me tell you why we got to do all the words of this law. Because let me tell you something, you should know that if you're Hispanic, if you're Hondureño, Guatemalteco, Salvadoreño, you know, de Centroamérica, si tú eres mexicano, si tú eres de Latinoamérica, tú deberías saber que todo lo que te ha pasado a ti y a tu gente es porque tú te has olvidado de quién eres tú. You have forgotten who you are. You have forgotten your language. You have forgotten your heritage. You're taking on the customs of people that hate you. Let me tell you something. You should understand that the reason why your brothers and your sisters and your father and your mother are on drugs and lost is because they're following the ways of people that hate them. Let me tell you something. The drugs that have been induced into our nation have been induced through the Satan that, let me tell you something, Mexicans did not have money to create cocaine. The white man had the money to create cocaine. The way of transporting and bringing that into us and destroying our people. Don't you ever wonder why the prisons are full of, don't you ever wonder why we're the people that are in the lowest condition? Hasn't it ever occurred to you why your mom and your dad's got to work in second hand? Why it's so difficult for them to get ahead? Why you're paying rent and you can barely make it? Has it ever come to you or occurred to you that these are the things that are happening to you, that are happening to your people? Is it ever occurred to you that maybe there's something, you know, beyond the normal, that this is why it's happening to you? Let me tell you something. The Lord knows from the beginning to the end, you know, and he knows that, you know what, we're a lost nation. We're a nation of people that have struggled. Let me tell you, Mexicano, Centroamericano, Latinoamericano, nuestra gente trabaja como nadie más trabaja. Right. We're in the field. Nosotros somos los que piscamos y traemos la comida a las mesas de todos los Estados Unidos. La gente gabacha, los gringos, ellos no hacen este trabajo. Nunca podrían hacer el trabajo que hace tu mamá, tu papá, tus hermanos, tus primos, or whoever that is that does that work. Nunca van a hacer este trabajo. How come when you're working right now, how come there's not white people working next to you? Right. How come they're not doing that job that you're doing? I'll tell you why. Because not everybody will do it, but the job that you're doing is an honorable job. It's a job that's helping somebody get rich, and you barely live on a line. You know what I'm saying? We're taking the jobs that nobody else wants, but yet we're living on a line, meaning that we're living at a certain pace. We're not getting richer. We're not getting poorer. Well, we might get poorer, but we're living at a pace. We are not getting anywhere. We're struggling. Not because you went out and got a good car means that you're doing better than your brother. Not because your job is better than the guy working at McDonald's means that you got a better job. Because in the end, when that rent comes, when that mortgage comes, when that bill payment comes, you know what? You're just in the same condition as everybody else is. So you know what? We should learn to understand that we should have compassion for our own people. We should have compassion for those that work at the same level that we work at. We should have compassion because those people are struggling just the way we struggled at one time. If you were able to get a better job and move away from what you did, man, most high in Christ that you were able to do that. Right. But let me tell you something. We should never look down on our brothers because our brothers are struggling just the way we are. What we should do is realize that what's really needed is, let me tell you something. Those children, how many?
12,800.
12,800 children, Latino American children, Mexicanos, or Hondureños, Guatemaltecos, Salvadoreños, that are being held right now, according to LA Times, in those detention centers, yesterday or the day before or last week. Brother, and they were having dinner with their mom and their dad. And her mom and her dad was coming home from a job just like the one you have. And they had been doing that for years, never thinking that this day was going to come upon them. Never imagining that one day they would be separated from their families. Never thinking that tomorrow I'm going to be in the cage and I don't know where my dad and my mom is at. Never thinking, you know what, because I don't see my children. Never thinking I cry myself to sleep because I'm not with my dad, I'm not with my mom, I'm not with my brother. These children thought that tomorrow they were going to get up and play their video game once again with all their friends online. That they were going to go to school once again with their friends, and it would be another single day just like every other day. They never thought that this day would come upon them when this devil would come into their house and break up that family structure that they once had. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if I could real quick, you know, what they're doing is that they're manipulating these children's futures. In reality, that's what they're doing. Because look what happens to us. What kind of lifestyle do we choose after growing up in the ghetto? Right. Our mom on drugs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? we look down on that, and we do worse than our parents did, because we see that, right? And imagine how you gonna feel when you a kid and you in a cage,
right?
You know what I'm saying? When you're supposed to, when you're thinking in your mind, my moms, my pops, man, they're the ones who's supposed to keep me safe. You know, kid don't know. Your kid just knows to rely on his pops, on his moms, man. And imagine the things that go through their head when they think my mom and my dad couldn't stop this from happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like they're training them for prison.
Right.
They're training them for a life of, you know what I'm saying, of drugs, of just harming themselves, because that's really what the society teaches you how to do. Really, how to destroy yourself. It's a self-destructive lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So they're putting these kids in cages. You get what I'm saying? What do you think? And they're putting that burden on them. What is it that you know, like post-traumatic stress disorder? Somebody that goes to war has it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of thing that they're inducing in our young children's mind. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want them to choose a destructive lifestyle. You get what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something. In the 1970s, they separated the black families. Our black brothers, their mom and their dad don't live with them. They've learned to separate the black family, and they destroyed the black family throughout the 70s and the 80s. And in the year 2000, most of these black families, most of blacks and Hispanics, I mean, both black, female, black, male, cannot live together today. There's enmity between both of them. War in the household, always. It's hard to get a black family to stay together. The white man did that to these families. Today, they have found a way to do it to the Mexican families. How many kids?
12,800.
12,800 kids that are going to grow up without a mom and a dad.
Right.
And you know what they're going to do? They're going to grow up to do the same thing. They're creating a chain reaction that when these children grow up, they're not going to have a mom or a dad. And you know what? Their children are going to learn that living with a mom and a dad is not necessary.
Right.
When it's the most important part of the family structure.
Right.
But yet America is destroying the Hispanic household. And let me tell you something. The Hispanic household, no matter what condition we're in, is a strong household.
Right.
We still visit our moms and dads. We may fight, we may argue, we may have differences, but we love each other and we maintain our household. We may have differences in religion and everything, but you know what? We still honor our mothers and fathers. We cannot let a nation destroy a culture of Latinos and Hispanos by allowing this to happen to us. And if you think that it's not important, it's because you're just as evil as the white man who's doing it to our people. You have something to say?
Yeah, I was going to throw in real quick. Where do you think that stereotype comes from of a whole bunch of Mexicans in one car?
Exactly.
We all rolling in one car because we all live together.
Damn right, because we family.
Right.
Right. We don't mind being all bunched up. We don't mind sleeping on the sofa, sleeping on the floor, sleeping 2, 3 in a room. To us, it's all good. I used to sleep with all my cousins in the room. It was mayhem in there. We used to laugh. We used to stay up all night, tell jokes. It was a great feeling to live with all your cousins. But you know what? America is destroying the Latin American household. That's what they're doing. They're destroying the unity between Hispanics by separating these families. These children are being separated and are being taught that you don't need to have a mom and a dad. The white people don't do that. Goddamn white people have their families. How come we're not allowed to have our families? How come the black man has been broken up families? How come the Mexican is having broken up families? How come the native Indian had broken up families? The native Indians, the fathers are drunk, the mom is here, the children are there. They're breaking up our children and our families. You have to say
yeah. And also, the other nations, they don't break up their families, man. They stay close tight. You know, like the doctor's office is owned by Asians, man. They're all family.
Right.
The little sister does the paperwork. You know, the son's a doctor. The mom's the receptionist. You know, they all have their little piece in their family business, man. Because you gotta understand, all these other nations, they can prosper in America. They have gas stations. All the businesses they have, they run it through their family.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But they don't even want us to have that. And like what I was going to bring out earlier was that the first thing they want to do is they want to throw you in prison.
Right.
And what do you learn in prison, especially in the West Coast, where it's the gang capital?
Right.
They're politics. Politics in prison keep you away from, if you black, they keep you away from the Mexicans or the Hispanics. Right. Vice versa. Vice versa. There's separation, man. You know what I'm saying? They want to get you in that prison as soon as they can. So what? So you can learn to be separate.
Right. Right. Let me tell you something. It's important that we all realize that. It's important that we realize that, you know what? America is separating the Mexican families. What they're doing is they're doing the same tactic that they used against the black man. And that was separating families. Today, they're doing the same goddamn thing. They're separating Mexican families. They're sending the mother and the father across the border. And they're putting how many kids?
12,800.
12,800 kids held in detention centers today, according to the LA Times. These 12,800 kids, and that's a short count, are going to be given to families here in America, where they're going to be abused, where they're going to be discriminated on, where they're going to be miseducated, and they're going to lose what it is to have a family culture. Mexicanos, Centroamericanos, Latinoamericanos, we have a strong bond in family. We go to our barbecues every Sunday. Right. We gather together to watch the fights. We go when it's a holiday to see my mom and my dad's. We go and see what's going on. We're always together. Even though we have our differences, but we're a tight-knit family. But you know what? America is destroying our children. Is destroying a generation of Latino Americanos to make sure that they don't have that structure, to make sure that the family structure is not there. They did that to the blacks. They did that to the Native Indians. They don't have families. Their families are destroyed. They're separated. And there may be, I'm not saying all of them, but the majority is like that. You can speak to a black brother and he'll tell you that. You can speak to a Native American Indian and he'll tell you that. But you speak to a Mexican and he'll tell you that his family, you know, he still visits his grandma. They still take road trips. They still go to Mexico to visit the ancestors, you know, allá en el rancho, in Jalisco, in Zacatecas, Michoacán. They still go down there and visit them. But you know what? America is making sure that that bond that the Mexicans have is destroyed. And you know what we got to do? We got to rise up and we got to raise a voice and we got to make sure that we come into this truth and that we speak this over and over and over again to allow our children to understand that this is happening and that we are the generation that's going to come out and speak up against this atrocity that's happening against our families.
Yeah, I was going to bring out, you know, like what they're using against us is this Bible.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because it seems like they know how to make us sin against the Most High in order for the Most High won't be with us, man.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because they do everything contrary to what the Bible says.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you gotta realize that. And since they're using the Bible, right, to make you sin against the Most High, this right here is the blueprint of life, man. This is the instruction manual.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And they're using it against you. So why not use it to be right? You get what I'm saying? This is how they're destroying you. They reading this Bible and figuring out what you can and cannot do. And they're making you do the things that you are not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So the only way to battle that, to battle your enemy is to read the Bible, come into the UPK, and so you can be taught the Bible, Salakia, right. And then that way you can battle your enemy. Other than that, you cannot battle your enemy. You joining with your enemy.
Right. And let me tell you something. If you're Mexicano, you're a Salvadoreño, Guatemalteco, you know, let me tell you something, man. Our people, historically, since the beginning, since the time of Christopher Columbus, man, we've been a united people. We've been a people that's been strong together. You know what I'm saying? We did not abandon each other. There's historical proof in the writings of the Codex Mexica and the Codex Aztlán and all these codex, well, not Aztlán, but all these codex that exist in Mexico, where it shows and proves that, man, the kings and the people out there, man, we were a real strong, united people. And we should understand that it's important that we uphold what was our heritage, and that is unity between our brothers. You know what I'm saying? And now we're understanding that the blacks and Hispanics and Native American Indians, we all those brothers here in the Bible. We are those brothers that you know, even though they're trying to teach us lies, that we should understand that, you know what, the truth is that we are one. We are Israel. That's why when during the slave trade, right, during the slave days, Vicente Guerrero, the second president of Mexico, you know, he was a mestizo, so-called mestizo, and what he did is he opened the doors to bring blacks into Mexico and help them to escape captivity here in America. And the reason he did that is because he understood, he knew that the American Indian, the Mexican Indian, and the black, that we were all brothers. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. That man, Vicente Guerrero, that his father told him, because he was fighting against the Spaniards. He was like, you know, I'm going to raise a revolution against the Spaniards. And he was president. And his father told him, hey, man, you know what? What you need to do is you need to go turn in all, run yourself in and join their side. For like that, they can give you riches. And what is that? A gift.
It destroyed the heart.
Ecclesiastes, right?
Ecclesiastes 7:7.
7:7. Bring that out. So this man, his dad tells him like this: look, Vicente, what you need to do is you need to give up this fight, and you need to go over to the Spaniards, and you need to get on their side. Go over there, get on the side, and, you know, let them do what they're going to do, and join their government, join their movement, and do what they're doing. You got it? You know what I'm saying? And his dad was adamant. His father, I mean, his family member was adamant about him doing this. But what does the Bible say? Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
So let me tell you, oppression maketh a wise man mad. Hey, I'm mad. Sharwan, we're mad. All my brothers in the ISUPK, we're mad. We've decided to raise a voice, forget who we are, and raise this voice because our people are being destroyed.
Right.
Me as a Mexicano, my brothers and sisters are being sent across the border, and their children are being separated from their families. Let me tell you something. I'm mad at what's happening. I'm angry at the situation. Vicente Guerrero was mad at what was happening to his people. He was mad that his people were being made into slaves, the land taken from them, murdered, killed, and put into slavery. He was mad about that. Continue reading.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
And the what?
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
Let me tell you, a gift destroyeth the heart. Did you see that Mexican woman who's ranting on the internet about Donald Trump? That's a gift that destroyed the heart. That damn woman, what happened to her is that somebody gave her a goddamn green card or allowed her into America. Even worse, they allowed her to be, what is she? A salesman for a real estate agent. She's a real estate agent. She decided that being a real estate agent was more important than helping her people. A gift destroyeth the heart. That's what that was about. Because she got the gift of being able to do that, she decided her people were no longer important. That's what it is. And who vote for Donald Trump, that gift destroyed their heart. They decided to go up against their own people. Vicente Guerrero, that's the same thing his dad told him. Told him, hey, man, you know what? Take the gold that the Spaniards are giving you. Take the treasures that the Spaniards are giving you. You'll be able to have houses. Your kids will be able to live great. All you got to do is stop this fight and take that gift. That's it. And take that gift. But you know what? Vicente Guerrero, just like the brothers in the UPK, just like me, just like my brother Sharwan here, we've decided that we ain't taking that gift.
Right.
We ain't taking nothing like that. We've decided we're going to stay right here in this truth, and we're going to speak up for those children that are being separated. We decided we're going to stay right here in this truth, And we're going to do shows every week about my brothers being thrown out of the, kicked out of this country across the border. We decided we're going to speak up against the killings against our black people, our black brothers, for no reason at all, for getting pulled over, for being in a mall, for breaking into their house, for things like that. We decided we're going to speak up for our Native American Indian brothers that are still living on the reservations. That's what we've decided. We ain't going to take that gift. We ain't going to take that they're trying to give us. We're going to decide to lift up our voice that, you know what, this wind can take it of this time and this era. The winds of this era and this time can take this message to the brothers who have not realized the truth and bring them into this ISUPK and bring them in to fight this battle that's not an easy battle. That's not an honorable battle for those in the world, but that for us and for the Lord, it's the highest honor available. It's the honor of raising up your people and bringing them into the truth. That's what this is about. This is about remembering that you're the ones that we're waiting for. Remembering that you're your ancestor and that it's time to remember all that happened to you. It's time for you to speak up and realize that all that has happened to the Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans today, to come out, girdle up your girdle up your loins, right, and you know what? Step up to the plate and speak for people that are being destroyed. And you know what? There is no recompense for that. Not now. Not right now. Ain't no one gonna give you no treasure. Ain't no one gonna look at you like you're the man. There ain't gonna be no nice car waiting for you. There ain't gonna be no silver and gold waiting for you. But what there is gonna be, there's gonna be honor in your words. There's gonna be honor in your spirit and honor in your heart. And you know what? You're gonna go out there and you're gonna speak this truth and bring your brothers. And you know what? You're gonna be able to help a situation that some think it's, you know, it's a lost cause. And you know what? If my young brothers that are housed up in those cages could hear us, man, I guarantee you that they would love us, man. They would honor us. They would be, man, I want to be like them. I hope that these words, this video, gets out to my young kids, those young kids that are being housed up in there, and let them know, man, that you know what? There is someone on the outside that cares about what you're going through. Right. There's someone out here that's putting in this work, that's speaking up for the voice that cannot be heard, which is you and your mom and your dad that have been separated. I wish those moms and dads could hear and understand that we do care, that we do have a spirit, that we do love our people, and that we're feeling that they're going through. And that, you know what, we find it a disgrace that people like us have ignored it and have decided that it's not of interest. But to me and to my brothers, it's of great interest. It's a great spirit. It's because the Lord has called us to do this. You got something?
Yeah.
Read the last precept of the day.
The book of Philippians, chapter 2 and verse 4. Look not every man on his own things.
Don't look on your own things. Brothers, man, let me tell you, Jerry from Arizona, my brother Yacob, Vic Evans, Carla, Prince Trills, Yashikar, DeVale, Shot Rock, everybody watching, man, think not on your own things, man. Think not what's good for you. Think not what upholds you. Think not what's going to make you look good. Think not what's going to make you feel good. Because this truth doesn't make you feel good. It makes you realize that the suffering of our people is alive and well. And that, you know what, that we need to speak up. That we need to have this voice. That we need to have this wind that is important to wake up our nation. Continue reading.
Oh, kind. But every man also on the things of others.
You know what? Every man on the things of others. You got to be on the things of others. You have to be attentive to what's happening to these children. You have to be attentive to that brother that's being, you know, beat on the street and incarcerated for sleeping in his car. You got to be attentive for that brother with that family that was thrown out of their house because they couldn't pay the mortgage and the bank came and took them and now they're living on the street. You have to be attentive to that girl that's prostituting herself because she can't feed her family. You have to be attentive to that brother that thinks that selling drugs to his brother is going to keep him alive and feed his family. You have to be a tent to that mom who can't feed her children and has had 2 or 3 jobs to be able to pay rent and get her children, you know, just some simple clothes. You got to be a tent to that kid that goes to school wearing the same clothes every day. You got to be a tent to that kid that goes to school and doesn't have money for lunch and goes home without eating and then comes home and finds nothing to eat at his house. You got to be a tent to that brother who lives in another country and his country is at war because America has taken this war to their country. And you know what? That they live on the street and are starving, that they don't even have water, that they breastfeed even their older children just to be able to give them something to drink or something to eat. You have to be a tent that, you know what? There's brothers that ride the bus daily and are begging for a quarter or 50 cents to try to meet that goal to be able to take their job, to take that bus to work. You got to be a tent to that brother who's been injured and has been fired from the job and now is at home waiting to see what's going to happen to him, waiting to see what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a tent to that brother that got pulled over and they put in jail, knowing that he has already 3 write-ups at work and that this next write-up is going to be him thrown out of his work. And that when he gets out of jail, he's going to get out to not having a job and to rent being due and to his phone bill being due and to his water and power being due, and that he's not going to be able to come up with that money. And guess what? He's going to be thrown out. And you know what? His family with him. And you got to be a tent that there's brothers who have lived here for a long time and have not been able to get a green card or have not been able to get citizenship. And now they're worried about where their next meal or where they're going to live next. You got to be a tent to those people living on the street because the America has put them on the street. That's what you got to be a tent to. What else you got on that? That was it. You have to be a tent to our brothers and sisters. You have to be a tent to our brothers lost in this nation that has destroyed Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. The Lord tells us, man, don't be a tent to yourself, bro. Don't worry about yourself. Worry about your brother. Worry about these children. Worry about the poor. Worry about the ones that are weary. Worry about the ones that don't have it as good as you do. The weak job that you have is a great job for somebody who's in lower condition than you. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. You can't help a person by giving them money. You can't help a person by giving them a place to stay. You can't help a person by, I don't know, giving them food that day or buying them a beer or getting them high. You can't help them that way. You know how you're going to help your brother? By making them know that the law, statutes, and commandments and following the Lord and coming to the reality that he's an Israelite and in the ISUPK, that he's going to be liberated from the curse that he's in. Right. And that is destruction of himself. And right here in the ISUPK, our goal is to bring our brothers into this truth and liberate them from this curse. It's that time right now. It's the time to wake up our brothers and you know what? Get them out of these curses. Because these curses have been brought up upon us because we turned away from the Lord and gave him our back. Right. So brothers and sisters, everybody watching, the solution to poverty, the solution to violence, the solution to destruction of yourself, to being poor, to being all this, is coming back to the Lord. Because the Lord doesn't hear the prayers of people who aren't with him. The Lord's going to hear the prayers of those that keep his law, statutes, and commandments, right, and who follow his word and who are in the truth. That's who the Lord listens to. That's who the Lord follows. That's who the Lord, when you pray to him and you're keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, that's who he's going to listen to. That's who he's going to say, this brother right here, this sister right here, she loves me, and I'm going to love her back. You know what I'm saying? Read that precept.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High.
See, we got to seek the kingdom of the Lord, the Most High. And how do you seek the kingdom? By keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Right. Acting on it. Doing that the Lord told you to do. He established the kingdom of Israelites. he gave them a set of commandments. And he said, if you follow all these commandments, you will be blessed. But you know what? We turned against them. Continue reading.
But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness.
And his righteousness. Continue reading.
And all things, and all these things shall be added unto you.
See, all these things shall be added unto you. He's talking about all the blessings that the Lord had. Isn't that a precept above? All the blessings that he was going to give us, all we had to do was follow these blessings. All we had to do was follow his laws, statutes, and commandments, and he was going to have blessings for us. Do you have it?
Oh, yeah. Right here it's talking about how the fowls of the air.
He was going to give us all these blessings. He was going to give us a kingdom. You know what? My young brothers and sisters, those kids that are in those cages today, that are being held by ICE and all these governments, those families that are being separated, unfortunately, man, those mothers and fathers, they were worshiping Mary, they were worshiping this Jesus, they were worshiping other gods, and you know what? It brought this destruction on them. Now the children are separated. Now these children that were once, you know, good children, happy children, you know, that were going to school, that were getting up in the morning, getting their breakfast, you know, watching their cartoons, happy with their siblings, happy with their sister, you know, with their own room, with their own TV, with, you know, the way we live, they find themselves locked up in these cages, separated from their moms and dads. They find themselves in a situation it's a nightmare, unbearable. You know, I'm pretty sure that those kids, suicide is in their mind.
Right. Right.
You know, suicide is a thought. The parents, the mom and dad, I'm pretty sure they're completely broken up.
Also, I remember seeing an interview, man, and the young kid, he was seeing the pain of the other young kids.
Right.
So you got young kids, you know what I'm saying, looking at other young kids like, damn, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? They're young themselves.
They're young themselves, and they're looking at children their same age going through horrific conditions.
Right.
Being locked up in a condition that's unbearable. You know what I'm saying? This is not only Mexicanos, this is Salvadoreños, Guatemaltecos, Hondureños. You're from Latin America, your child is put in this position. And let me tell you something, it's not finished. How many kids?
12,800.
12,800 kids is what the LA Times has counted that's being held right now. That's 12 kids that are going to grow up without a mom and a dad, without a family. They're going to be put into homes with people they don't even know. They're going to be abused. They're going to be molested because that's what these people do.
Also, you know, that's a good way to just make their bodies disappear. They could be just selling, you know, body organs parts. Or for sex slaves, you know what I'm saying? Like without the parents, without nobody that, you know, cares about the kid, then it's going to be easy for them to make them disappear. Another thing is that's not even counting the kids that they take away from the other tribes.
Right. That's on the Mexican, the Latin American.
Right.
The Native American Indian is going through the same thing.
Right.
Child CSS is doing the same thing to black kids.
Right.
You know, CSS is doing that to everybody. You know what I'm saying? The social services is out there and they're taking kids from everybody. Let me tell you something. If we don't send this message out, if we ain't the ones working this, today what you're seeing here, what you're seeing me and Kasharwan do, what you're seeing the brothers in the ISUPK do, we ain't just normal everyday everybody's. You should understand that we're out here putting in a message. The words that we speak are dangerous in this time. The way we go about it is a dangerous task that we take upon. But you know what? Death is waiting for us. But you know what? It's an honorable death. It's an honorable thing that we speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. These children, man, if they could hear us, they would honor us. They would probably see us and be like, man, you know what? I hope they see us. Because I want them to grow up and say, you know what? I want to be like him right there. I want to speak up for children that can't speak up for themselves.
Right.
I want to speak up for people who can't speak up for what they're going through. I want to be able to say these things and help people that cannot help themselves. We are not here for ourselves. Forget the self. Forget who you are. you know what? Think about that. There's people who cannot speak up for themselves. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And that's why we wage this war against what's happening to our nation, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. My Black people are being killed. My Native American people are being held captive and their women disappearing. And Mexican people are being deported with their children being taken away from them. They're not doing this to Asians.
Right.
They're not showing any goddamn encampment where Asians are being held.
Right.
They're not showing anything about Armenians. They're not showing anything about any other nation. The only nations that are being put through this is the Black, the Hispanic, and the Native American Indian. Right. I'm yet to see an Asian person being shot in their car or being shot on the street.
Or Arab or East Indian, and we're at war with them.
Exactly. But you know what? We're seeing our people being destroyed every single day. And why? Because we are the true Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And because we have not come to the senses that the Black, Hispanic, and the Native American Indian need to uphold the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord has. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in. And unless we reverse this and begin to honor the Lord the way he should be honored, we're going to continue to see this perpetrating against our people. But let me tell you something. For those of us watching, for those of us who consider ourselves Israelites, what's more important than anything is that we begin to do this work. Let me tell you something, and I'm speaking for the Mexicans, right? Because I know we all done this, you know, Black Panthers, Native American Indian movement, Chicano movement, we've all done this. But the Mexicanos especially, man, we come from a race of people that have always been revolutionists. The Mexican women and the Mexican men and the people from Central America, man, I'm not even going to start it, but I usually go through a whole line of names of heroes that our countries have held high because of their work against oppression. Our spirit has not died. We are our ancestors. We are those that we've been waiting for to help this liberation of our people. And the time is now that we have come back into this spirit, into this time, into this last moments, the last breath of life, the last spirit given to us, that we come out here and we speak for those that can't speak for themselves. And we wake up a nation of people that are asleep. What do we call the dead bones? We are those bones, the dead bones. You know, aren't we those people?
Dry bones. The
dry bones, exactly, Salakia. We are the dry bones. And who's going to be those that are going to speak up and wake up those dry bones? Who's going to be those heroes? Who's going to be those people 20 years from now that they're going to say, remember that brother? Remember that sister? Remember that sister Sarah? Remember that brother Yazarakia? Remember that brother Devale? Remember that brother? Remember Kazakiad? Remember Kasharwan? Remember those brothers, Jacob, who came up and spoke up for our people, that they were incarcerated, that they were put away? Remember that brother Jerry from Arizona that was put away because he was out in the street speaking this? Those are the people that we want to be. Those are the names that we want to be remembered as. You know what I'm saying? Who remembers the goddamn drug dealer?
Right.
Who remembers your weed dealer? Who remembers that prostitute? Who remembers that person who had that great job at I don't know, at goddamn Costco?
Right.
Who remembers those people? Those people are never remembered. Those people are taken with the wind and buried in the sand and taken out to sea and dumped out and never remembered again. I don't want to be that person. And I know my brother Shadrach doesn't want to be that person. And I know my brother Sharwan doesn't want to be that person. I know that we want to be the people that are remembered as those that came up and spoke a voice and spoke up for those that couldn't speak up for themselves. Right? That's who we want to be remembered as. We want to be remembered as those people that came and spoke and saved the whole generation. As the people of El Salvador would say, we are the Ik. Ik in the ancient language of the Salvadoreño means the spirit. We are the Ik. We are the Ik. We are the spirit. We are the breath We are the wind. That's who we are. That's going to wake up all those dry bones and bring them to this justice.
I'm saying, we remember like these brothers right here that are written up in the Bible.
Exactly.
All these brothers serve the Lord, and that's why they're written down, you know what I'm saying, for all these thousands of years.
Khan, Yakazak, Matthew, right? Sal, who are going, Sal, right? Yeah, who else? Job, David, King David. You know, you never know, man. You do this work, you know, in the kingdom, there's going to be a book written. Now, I'm just, you know, I like to go off, you know, in the poetry, you know. But in the kingdom, there'll be a book written of all those people who in this time that was so difficult, almost impossible to stand out, stood out like a sore thumb. In this time of the reign of all these kings and the riches given to everybody, we chose to follow one single goal, and that was to free our people. That book is going to be and officers, and we're gonna be that reign, and we're gonna have, you know, I know for the women, you know, we're gonna have wives, and all our wives are gonna live with us in the kingdom. And well, speaking for myself, right? I'm gonna have wives, right? I'm gonna have damn right, I'm gonna have wives, and I'm gonna have a beautiful kingdom, and I'm gonna give a home to each one of my wives, and in that home is gonna be every rich that she could, all the riches that she could think of, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna visit all my wives all the time. And I'm going to make sure that they are correct and that they live in a great situation, man. You know, going off a little bit, the rib I have today, me and her been bonded 30 years. I'm gonna treat all my wives the same. I'm gonna treat her just the way the wife, my rib here in this world. I'm gonna treat my ribs in the other world the same way. They're gonna have all the riches, and I'm gonna make sure that they're in the perfect place. And they will never suffer, and they will never see that. And everybody written in this book that I'm talking about, that, you know, the imaginary book, they're gonna do the same for their wives. And we're gonna live in a kingdom that, you know what, it's unimaginable. And you know who's talking about this kingdom? The Lord is talking about this kingdom. He's talking about a kingdom